Hallo und herzlich willkommen, greetings and welcome, ich bin Hozak in the final summer tournament. I'm NightDarkWolf, your host, and I'm joined by CoreData.
Guys, how's it going, CoreData here? It's nice to be back for one last tournament.
One less tournament, but 7 streams. Will you believe that? We start in July 5th, this is today, and then we'll be streaming the final summer tournament until January 31st, and we'll have 7 streams and 6 stages. And during these stages, players will drop out. But who we have here, because this final tournament was recorded last year from the winners throughout the years. This is the conclusion for the summer tournament series that I started 5 years ago. And for this one, we decided to go with the invitational format, so we can bring you some interesting Tassel matches. It will not be just a normal tournament, we'll have special rules for each stages, but first let's see when the streams will take place, because that's what concerns you first.
So the first stream is obviously going to be today, which is July 5th, and the next stream will be on August 2nd. There's going to be no stream in September, and then we're back on October 4th, then November 1st, December 6th, January 3rd, and January 31st for the final stream.
Of course, the normal schedule would have meant that we do the last stream a week later in February, but I thought that since January 31st is a Saturday, then why not do it on the anniversary? So we'll do the finals on the same day that the game closed, and I think that will be a fitting end to this. Before looking at the stages, one quick mention since you're here on Twitch. Next weekend, I have my own version of Tassel based on my novels, Heroes of Wardy, and we just had the calendar tournament. In fact, while we are recording this, it's still ongoing, but by the time you see the stream, then it has been finished, and it will be streamed next weekend if you want to tune in. And now going for the stages, we have 6 stages. Today we'll watch the first half of the Challenge the Champion stage, because here every player will get a chance to play against Please Don't Hack Me. It will be 5 matches, each with their own deck building rule, but more about that later. Then, moving on, we will go to the mid-BM stage. Mid-range Battle Mage is a deck that every Tassel player is or must be familiar with. If you can play the deck, then you understand the game. Then we go to a Pressed Curve. I gave everyone a curve and everyone built a deck for the same curve. It was an aggressive curve, so this will be like an aggro stage. Then, after this stage, the bottom 2 players will be eliminated and we'll have 6 players left standing. We go to favorites, everyone can bring whatever deck he wants. Then we go to normal, which is the normal, like the usual summer tournament final stage 4-player setup that you are used to. It will be round robin with 4 decks, you ban 1, you play a best of 5 against everyone else, and then you move on based on your win rate. And in the finals, on January 31st, we will have 2 players left standing, and they will be playing a best of 11. Yes, you heard it right. They will bring 8 decks, they will ban 2, and they have to win with the rest. So that's what we will have as the conclusion here. Looking at the players though, let's see who got into the final summer tournament.
Yeah, so as NightDarkWolf said at the beginning, this was an invitational tournament, so the invitations went out to pretty much all the previous winners and runners-up of the previous summer tournaments, which means we have an absolutely all-star lineup of players here. These players, a lot of people in the community will recognize these names. These are all incredibly talented players. These have all made it to like the very top of the ladder. They've all had, I think, pretty much all have had #1 finishes at some point. Except for the 2 people at the bottom there, but we'll talk about that in a moment. The players that are playing in this tournament are Nocturnal, winner of the 2nd summer tournament, City Toker, who won the 3rd summer tournament, Ross Peardall, who won the 4th tournament, and then we have Aros, who came runners-up to City Toker in ST3, and Dozo, who came runners-up to Ross Peardall in ST4, and Mag Gackett, who was the 3rd place finisher of Summer Tournament 3. And then we have myself and NightDarkWolf, just to make up numbers. This is a bigger deal for me personally, just because having been a caster for all the summer tournaments, I never had the opportunity to play. So this was it was nice for me to get to at least get out there and test my mettle. I'm not not so sure on NightDarkWolf's perspective on this, but it was nice for me to at least compare myself to some of the better players in the game. But yeah, that's the lineup. Like I said, myself and NightDarkWolf are making up the numbers here, basically because neither of us ever got to compete, just being casters and the organizers. So it's going to be interesting.
Well, there is a clear reason why I'm here. Every year when we had the top 4 players, the 4th place always felt bad for being fourth and getting knocked out by all of the others. So I decided, okay, this is the final summer tournament. Everyone should feel happy to be here. So why not be the eighth? And that's why I'm here. During the stages, we will be competing for points, and then based on points, we will get eliminated. In this stage, we will play 5 matches against Hackme. Each victory is worth 5 points. So remember, the elimination is not after this stage, but after the first 3. So you have some time to lose and some time to win. But if you lose too much, then you will be out. So every victory counts. And now moving to the decks that we are playing today. Let's look at Hackme's lineup. Hackme set the rules for each of the 5 matches for deck building. For the first match, you bring 2 decks, you ban 1, and then you have to win with the other.
So the first set of decks here for Hackme is going to be House Telvanni. This is a Uprising Telvanni. It's basically a Telvanni conscription deck with Uprising as a massive value tool later in the game. Basically just looking to grind your opponent out really, really efficiently, as Telvanni normally does. And the second deck is going to be a Tribunal list. This is a Chanter Tribunal. A list not really seen that often. It used to be very, very popular. I think Michaela popularized it back in House of Morrowind, just because the interaction between Rising of Bones and Chanter of Akatosh is so powerful. But again, not a deck that was super common after that. Tribunal as a whole kind of fell off, but this has some slightly more mid-range elements in it, with things like Ordinary the Album CV, as well as Grey Viper Brigand and Midnight Burial is a little bit of a draw engine. So it's going to be interesting to see this deck run. Again, like I said, Tribunal hasn't really seen the light of day in quite a while.
For the second match, Hackme gave a very simple restriction. You had to bring a dual color deck, and you cannot play support, so that's why we will see a 0 beside the support count in each of the players' lineups. So for Hackme, this will be a mage deck.
Hackme brought this very strange Chanter Mage deck. Now, some people will be very familiar with this deck. I believe this was like Abra's combo Chanter Mage. You basically use Chanter of Akatosh and the cheap 0-cost spells to essentially endlessly loop elusive schemers to draw your deck, and then from that point you can just win with Thorana and Ice Spike.
While this restriction gives you, like, the reason support were banned is that you won't run Divine Fervor decks all the way. The next restriction for deck 3 actually helps aggro, because here what we have is you cannot play Prophecies and you cannot play Ice Storm.
Yeah, and for the no Prophecy and no Ice Storm round, Hackme decided to bring a controlling Rage Ebonheart list. This is a little bit confusing to me. Not being able to run Prophecies and then bringing like a control deck is a strange choice. But out of all the control decks, to bring Rage does make the most sense, just because it's able to play from behind a little bit easier. You have a lot of comeback mechanics. You've got a lot of cards like Sanctuary Pet, Crossbows, Rage, obviously very, very powerful. Archer's Gambit is a huge piece as well of the puzzle when it comes to this. Interestingly, he didn't bring any copies of Squish to Wimpy. I think Squish deserves a place in these types of decks, especially if you're making use of things like Fork for Repellation. But aside from that, it's a pretty solid Rage Ebonheart list.
Yeah, I remember when Hackme sent me the restrictions, he said that he wants this deck to be aggro, the third deck everyone brings, and then just a few lines later, I cannot bring aggro. I can't play aggro. Okay, I will bring control. And then he brought the control deck here. So for the next deck, these will be non-existent decks in the sense that you wouldn't run something like this on ladder. You can bring only cards from cost 3 to 6.
Yeah, so basically you're playing cards in a 3-mana window, essentially, so from 3 cost to 6 cost. And Hackme decided to bring a mid-range Dagoth. Obviously the curves the curves look very strange because you're starting at 3. But he's playing all the good Dagoth stuff, including some of the stuff you don't often run just due to space concerns. Things like Lumbering Ogre, a 1 of Burn Clan Nightstalker in here as well. 3 copies of Jarl plus 1 copy of Ashcan, which is interesting. My disdain for Ashcan is well known. I think Triumphant Jarl is just a much better card in 90% of circumstances. But overall, pretty good list. You can't really go wrong with Dagoth.
And for the last deck, the restriction was that you have to bring 2 copies of each card in your deck, and if you're bringing a 3-color like Hackme is here, you were allowed to choose 1 card to have 3 of. Here you see that it is Elfiq, and it's not surprising.
Yeah, so Hackme brought a mid-range Guildsworn deck. Probably one of the better choices for this, just because mid-range Guildsworn is very, very powerful. And yeah, like NightDarkWolf said, all 2 ofs, you could bring 1 3 of if you were in 75. So naturally, the third Alfiq makes a ton of sense. Alfiq being one of the best cards in the game, obviously for mid-range deck especially. But yeah, I think NightDarkWolf was saying to me that something that good deck builders are known for is being able to distinguish when you should be playing one copy of something versus 3 copies of something. So this playing 2 copies of everything goes completely against every fiber of my being. So this was this was one of the more uncomfortable deck building experiences for me, just playing 2 copies of everything. This is just speaking from my own experience of doing this. But yeah, as far as the deck choice goes, mid-range Guildstorm made a ton of sense. So a solid bring for this restriction.
In today's stream, we will have 4 players playing against Hack Me, and then next month we'll finish the rest of the stage. Today we will have Nocturnal, McGacket, City Talker, and Endezoa playing against Hack Me, and we will start with Nocturnal, so let's see his decks.
So for the first round, Nocturnal had a choice of 2 decks, and the first choice of deck was a mono blue Battle Mage. So this is an interesting deck. I think there was a few players playing this deck at the time, and Nocturnal was one of them. I think this was mainly an NPO deck. Essentially, it was a slightly more aggressive version of Battle Mage, focusing on the blue cards. So things like Altmer Flameslinger, you're looking at like Seething Courier or Wardcrafter, and then you're looking to land a Baron of Tyr. Basically gives all of your blue creatures +1 attack and guard. That landing on an Altmer Flameslinger is a huge deal in the early game, and you're just looking to play pretty aggressively. The only red cards in the deck are 3 copies of Rapid Shot, just to maintain ally percentage. But yeah, a pretty aggressive mono blue Battle Mage deck. This deck is actually pretty solid. I've played against it a few times. So yeah, it's going to be exciting to see if it gets banned or not. And the second deck that Nocturnal brought was, unsurprisingly, Empire Aggro. This is a slightly different version of Empire Aggro than the version I would generally play. This version does not run the Crab package. It focuses a lot more on more of like the mid-range creatures, things like Penstock Glass Agent. It's also running Gavel, as well as Dust Eater Skirmisher and Deepwood Trappers. Trappers are a great card, especially in Aggro Mirrors, so it makes a lot of sense. Also curves a little bit higher than what I would normally run in the copy of Clivia and the copy of Tazca, but overall a pretty solid looking deck. Next up, we have the dual color with no supports, and Nocturnal brought one of his pet decks, which is Osa Battle Mage. For those of you unfamiliar with this deck, basically it's looking to play Osa on 5, and then use the Automaton to activate Wood Orc Headhunter or the Alfiq on 6. It is essentially a very aggressive Battle Mage deck with some very funky synergies thanks to the Crab package. Next up is the No Prophecy, No Ice Storm deck, and this is going to be Dwem Crab Spellsword, one of the old school versions of Dwem Crab. Spellsword, one of the original homes that people generally tried this out in. Pretty solid deck. You can't really go wrong with yellow-based Dwem Crab, just thanks to Divine Fervor. Next up, we have the 3-6 costs, and Nocturnal has managed to make an aggressive Crusader deck in in this ridiculous curve profile. Not really too much to say because of the curve restrictions. You're playing a lot of very strange cards, so we're seeing things like Lord Canton Smith, Stronghold Patrol, Mighty Ally to activate things like Stone Throw. Heavy Battle Axe, 1 copy of it in the 4-drop slot. Yeah, it's this curve restriction was just very strange to build around. So I'm excited to see how some of these decks actually function. And finally, we have the 2 of decks. So this is a mid-range sorcerer, one of my favorite decks of all time, and I'm delighted to see 2 copies of Bone Colossus in here. Interesting to me that he's running 2 copies of Archene Elite when there is, I think, a few better choices, like Corrupted Shade, Worm King's Agent, also a solid option, but maybe wasn't expecting that much aggro. But overall, a solid-looking mid-range sorcerer deck.
Before we go into the matches, let's try to figure out what the bans were, because for the first match, we have 2 decks, you can ban 1. Hackme is playing Telvanni and Tribunal, while Nock is playing Battle Mage and Empire. What do you ban?
It's difficult, because Empire is notoriously quick. Aggro Empire very easily became like the best deck in the last year of Tesla. A lot of people kind of slept on it for a while until it got Darkbane, and then people started playing with it a lot more. It just represents so much damage so quickly, and it's able to build to the board so well, especially with the versions of the deck that layer buffs on top of each other with like Captain, Oathman, Fervor. But then you also have like the ward-centric nature of the Battle Mage deck that Telvanni really does not want to deal with. Like if you're playing Telvanni, you're happy to see Empire more so than the Battle Mage, and I think the Tribunal is going to be okay into both. So I think if you're Hackme, I think you might actually just ban the Battle Mage here.
And let's see what the actual bans were, and we will see the matchup here. We have Nocturnal versus Hackme, and in the anything slot, the Battle Mage stayed on Noxand, and Hackme has the Telvanni.
That's interesting. The Nocturnal banning the Tribunal makes a lot of sense just because it's like the most balanced into both your decks. But this is, I think, a nightmare matchup for Hackme just because of how resilient the Battle Mage is to most of Telvanni's removal. When you think about like the only removal spell that really does anything without extra steps in Telvanni against this Battle Mage is going to be Negation. Fire Blooms aren't going to do anything. Vipers are going to have to like pop a ward first. It's going to be, I think it's going to be a pretty tricky matchup for Hackme to navigate.
Hackme is the treasure hoarding dragon here. He has 25 points. Let's see how much can Nocturnal get.
Starting off here, we have Hackme on the Telvanni versus Nocturnal on the Battle Mage. So this is the free for all pick. Nocturnal chooses to mulligan 2, gets back a Harpy and a Thief, finds a Flameslinger off the top. Hackme's hand is looking not great. Could be better.
Well, at least you have a Hist Mage and an Ice Storm.
Okay, it does find Black Hand Messenger off the top here, which is not bad for next turn. It means you can potentially deal with this Flameslinger.
This is also
going to
huge.
get, yeah. As we see, more than likely Harpy. Nope, instead develops a Thief. Is just going to trade this this Flameslinger here. Messenger's going to come down, mark damage on the Thief.
This will set up the Ice Storm or the Fingers later on. Do you Thief or do you DFM?
I think you ditch the Thief, the second Thief.
Now you could even Harpy and Loser, but then...
Yeah,
it's
I
mana
think
efficient, but not really good.
Yeah, I think your choice here is just discard the second Thief, and then develop Daggerfall Mage. Because your wards are super important, and you know there's no negation in hand, because if he had it, he would have played on the Flameslinger or on this Discerning Thief.
I have a feeling. I think Nocturne is thinking about ditching the DFM and playing Thief. Okay.
It's just the Harpy. Interesting. See, Necro Amulet off the top for Hackme here, but is going to ring out a Hist Mage instead. Just wall up a little bit. I think this turn, if you are Nocturnal, it's going to be go face for 2, play your Discerning Thief and your Luzra, set up for a Alfeeg next turn. Now, unfortunately, the Alfeeg won't be active. I mean, you could Conjure, but you kind of want to Conjure next turn.
A Conjurer into Conjurer will be hard to deal with for Telvanni.
Yeah. Because you need to play the Conjurer when you're expecting an Ice Storm. Just to kind of punish it a small bit.
You need
does
to
in fact go for the does in fact go for the Thief plus Lizard line here, and does attack. So we're probably just going to see probably the Necro Amulet come down.
I could also see like Fingers.
You could Fingers to pop the ward and then deal 4 to the Thief, which is fine. Kills the Lustra. Interesting. Okay, let's Nocturnal cycle off this Tome if he wants. Could just Tome and see the Neen. As we've seen, Quartermaster off the top, ditches the Quartermaster as Hackme hits a Prophecy Harpy. We are just going to see...
Yeah, the Alfeeg.
Yeah, just a naked Alfeeg come down here, just make a Flame Atro. This at least does set up the second Alfeeg.
Now you could Ice Storm or you could, yeah, Emeric.
Emeric gets through.
Because the Thief was shackled, there was no need to Ice Storm.
Yeah, this is a really, really awkward awkward board state for Nocturnal here, and this Hallowed Death Priest is going to snipe that other Alfiq out of his hand here.
Unless you
So if
play
you're
this
hacking,
turn.
if you're Nocturnal, I don't think you do. I think you were more likely to develop the Breton Conjurer here in Shadow.
Yeah, if you would play it, you will just get Ice Stormed. And you will get Ice Stormed.
Yeah, I think
This is rough.
yeah, on this board state, I'd be very conscious about deploying the second Alfiq. You want the ward 100% on the Storm Metro. I think this should be Breton Conjurer plus Crown Quartermaster here.
Breton Shadow or Breton Field?
Breton Shadow contest the Hist Mage.
Because it has only 1 health.
Yeah, I think you deploy both threats into Shadow here. Does go for the Alfiq. This is going to get so punished by Ice Storm.
And Ice Storm will clear the whole board. Because you have a Merrick for the Thief.
Yeah.
The other play you could do here is Warcrafter. Yeah, of course Hackme does it. Of course Hackme does it. Warcrafter and Uprising. This is such a Hackme move.
Yeah. I much rather would have seen the Ice Storm here. Just full clear, take all the wind out of Nocturnal sails.
And didn't
Instead,
even feel needed to kill the Quartermaster.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't agree with that Uprising.
You know,
maybe I'm wrong, but
the Uprising was probably correct.
more than likely.
This was a good enough board.
I don't know. I personally, I would have just gone for Amulet Ice Storm in that situation. You full clear. You're left with an Emmerich plus. Yeah, you're left with the Emmerich. You've gained a ton of health. Your opponent has like nothing.
The ward on the Hist Mage is also really good. Would be better if the Quartermaster died.
I think you kind of have to trade the Quartermaster here. Yeah, it has to be Fingers. Interesting. Okay. Seedanine, target itself. Missed some damage. Yeah. We're gonna see the Amulet plus Ice Storm here.
And this will heal him
Second
for
Ice Storm.
3.
Yeah, second Ice Storm off the top for Acme as well.
Also, next turn is Conscription.
Yeah.
So this is prime time to clear the board. I would have even seen a reason to attack with the Hist Mage, get the ward off, and then Ice Storm.
Yeah, as Nocturnal finds finally an activator for this this Conjurer. This is the downside of running a mono blue version of Battle Mage, is you don't get to play Skaven for Conjurer activations. As we do see the Ring Conscription call out for Acme here. Skinned Hound, Fires of Recruit, Harpy, Wardcrafter, Thieves Guild, Alder Lothi, and a Unglim. Health buff goes on to the Hist Mage, keeps it alive, versus the Quartermaster, but it can just be daggered here.
And it's game
on.
on.
Scoops it up. Hackme maintains his 25 points.
This didn't go as we first thought.
Yeah, I think the game-losing play was that second Alfiq play instead of developing the Conjurer. I think if you'd played the Conjurer, I think Hackme is in a much tougher position because he has to deal with the ward before he can do anything anyway. And then it gives you an activated Alfiq, so you then have a second 7/5 ward that he has to deal with. I think that was the critical point in the game.
Yeah, it's also hard to beat Helvani with the Drain and the Uprising that we saw, and also double Ice Storm in hand.
Yeah, as we have the combo mage versus the, I believe the the crab battle mage.
Yes. And Crab
This
Battle
one,
Mage is the deck that Nocturnal won the second summer tournament on.
yeah, this is his pet deck. You see Automaton plus Scimitar. I think you just ditched Candle Hearth here and you keep the Automaton. Yeah, finds a Discerning Thief, which is pretty solid. As Hackme finds Gearwork, Jav, Schemer,
And there is the off-eek. Oh, wow.
Yeah, no, you ring the 2-drop here all the time because you know that Hackme isn't really going to be deploying creatures for a little bit, and whatever he does deploy, you're happy to kill. As we're just going to see a trade here into Ring Thief. Second Firebloom off top for Hackme, but no targets to play it on. Well, you could play the Gearwork here.
Oh.
Yeah. And you can Firebloom, clear off the 3/5, but yeah. Wardcrafter for Nocturnal develops the Portal Gatekeeper.
Now Hackme. Oh.
Hackme has Schemer plus Firebloom here.
And there is a close call.
Close call doesn't do anything just it opts not to Firebloom it. Interesting. Yeah, this can be hard punished, or well, Warcrafter is a punish. Because now Hackme is going to be priced into firing off the bolt if he wants to clear it. Nocturnal opts to not trade. Interesting. This is Hackme.
And that's a Javelin.
Yeah, Javs. And trades.
And now it's Alfiq turn.
Yeah. Oh, ring Alfiq into second Alfiq.
And this is where you kind of regret that you used the Javelin just now.
Yeah. Ice Spike off the top for Hackme. Yeah, this is an incredibly tough position to be in. I mean, Hackme can... He can play Gearwork Spider, he gets back a second one, he can Fire Bloom. He could spend a Bolt to knock the ward off of the aggro. We see a Gearwork. This is fine, soaks up 3 damage. Brilliant Experiment is well drawn for Hackme.
Do you just play the Gatekeeper, set up the Headhunter next turn, or you go with Alfiq?
I think you hold the Gatekeeper. Yeah, just play the Alfiq. Give you something with Breakthrough, just to play the Gatekeeper and Scimitar on.
Yeah, the only downside to this play would be an Ice Storm. But I'm not even sure if there is an Ice Storm.
As Hackme, just no hesitation fires off this bolt.
There is no Ice Storm in Hackme's deck, only 2 copies
Nope.
of Fingers.
Hackme could trade this Gearwork Spider, play the second Spider. Just make a bunch of bodies. You could Brilliant Experiment one, maybe, if you wanted. But you're still taking 10 at minimum.
You know what we forgot to tell everyone, Core? I just remembered. In the stage, we had sideboarding, which means that from the 50 cards that someone brought, they were able to change 5, and from 75, they were able to change 7.
Oh, yes. I believe it was the deck lists were shown before the match was played, and you had the option to replace a handful of cards. Yes.
Yes.
That is correct. So this is a slightly modified version of the deck.
So if we see some strange cards that weren't actually shown during the deck breakdowns, that's why.
Yes. Javelin off the top for Hackme.
And
Yes,
it's game
that's it.
2 to
Super.
Nocturnal. Is it 1-1? And that's 5 points. 5 points. And now that I remembered that we had this rule, I can also tell you what the changed cards are. If I find it in my sheet. So this is game 3. Hackme put 2 Vicious Druid and 3 Dushnik. and 1 Cradle, and 1 Necro. Got rid of Snaketooth, Necklace, Leaf Lurker, A-Lead, and 3 Foul the Mighty. While Nocturnal... He has +1 Edict and +1 Moose in this deck. And -1 Trainer and -1 Necro. I assume that is Apprentice Necro.
Yeah, just dropping some of the early game for some hard removal and a little bit more draw for late game, because you're expecting this game to be a little bit more grindy. So we see a Blackwood Distiller come down for Hack Me. Osa off the top. This is an active Osa this turn, so you can just fire this off. Takes Flameslinger, gives Hack Me the strategist map.
This will be a rough fair war.
Shall we put in a dishonest day's work?
Brynjolf comes down. Yeah, Fervor. You do need to kill the Brynjolf is the problem. Yeah, trade two smallest crabs. Give her 7.
Moose into Moose next 2 turns.
Yeah. I think you're more likely to fire off the Osa before you play the Moose. Just to get the crabs out of the deck.
And the Druid that Hack Me just put into the deck actually paid off.
Yeah, it makes sense versus Spellsword, just because you're the 3 Fervor plus 3 holds. You need support removal. Keeper of Whispers taken off the crab for Nocturnal.
Just for a 3-cost 3/4, it's still worth it.
Yeah.
If the other choice is a 7-cost 5/7.
7-cost 5/7 with Ward. Drake probably just going to take the trade here with the Automaton. It does indeed. Indeed, Bosmer. Probably going to see a crossbow come down. Will-o'-the-Wisp.
Crossbow. You could even crossbow on the Wisp. And get
Yeah,
3 of the 2 done.
I consider that game 1 held back. Yeah, I think this is just going to be Walls Incarnate.
You could also go Edict Dawnbreaker. My trade.
Double trade, goes face. Go face in field lane and play Walls Incarnate just to cover the Flameslinger.
Yeah, the problem is the 4/3 drain.
Yeah. Does go for the Edict, plays the Mechanical Ally, and hits. So we're going to draw a card here. Finds a Dwarven Dino, a huge pickup.
It's 7 damage from hand. If you have a natural creature.
Seducer. Naturally, after he's played the Edict here, we find Yagrum off the top. I don't think Yagrum really has many relevant hits here.
I think at this point in the game, your best hit for Yagrum will be if the Mechanical Ally goes back to discard.
Yeah, well, what you really, really wanted here would have been like a Dwarven Sphere off the top, just to shackle down the Seducer for a turn, just to maybe draw another Edict for it. But you can't leave it up for the turn is the issue, because you have to consider Rage.
And he played the Dynamo in field just to make sure that the rune won't be broken and you can move it for 2 cards.
Yeah, so we see Cradle Crush plus Skaven come down for Hack Me, fully cleared the board. We're going to see Wilds Incarnate. Draw 2. There's a third Osa, and there's a Sphere, but we're just going to play a Steam Constructor alongside this Moose, I think.
At this point, Osa doesn't bring much out.
Yeah. Yeah, you could have also considered playing Yagrum, like ringing out Yagrum to bring back Dynamo, but I think that is information that Nocturnal wants to keep hidden for now.
Also, next
Just
turn
the-
is Aylids.
Yes. Let's see Clockwork Scorpion come down. Quick slow crossbow. Just takes out the moose. Edict is a pretty
Yeah.
solid pickup here.
You have to Edict the 4/8 because it has drain, but then you'll be stuck with the Aylids.
Trades into the Cradle Crush. Does Edict. Second boost, draw 2.
Draw
Nocturnal
Edict?
needs to find the third Edict here. Does not find it. Finds instead a Apprentice Necro plus Dwarven Sphere. The Necro can bring back the Spider Worker, I believe, to draw a card. So the Necro does at least represent a cycle.
And finally, you found holes. So if you set up a Shadow Lane here, you could try to...
You can push through the Guardian,
Yeah.
potentially. The only problem is that Hackme is sitting on a red ear.
Do my bidding.
Headhunter is interesting. I would have taken the chicken in this situation, though.
Yeah, at this point you can... The only orc you have here is the Automaton,
Yeah.
which means that he will go for the Automaton.
From the
With
last
Jackson.
living dwarf.
Goes for the Dynamo. Plays the Dynamo on... Oh, plays the Sphere, rather. Locks down the 9/9.
Well, because you wouldn't have been able to trade, the Dynamo only gives 3.
Mm.
But next turn you can trade, and the Mudcrab will deal the less damage.
Yeah.
And now we will see the Sunken One played.
What do you want?
Drunkard Outcast.
Okay, fine. Let's go.
Crushing Blow off the top for Nocturnal. Does that change any of the mats here? I mean, it lets him get through this Guardian.
If you would want to, you could Crushing Blow the 1/3 just to get rid of lethal.
Yeah. Does opt to go for it. Just gonna shackle down this Sunken One. But this red ear. Every time Nocturnal gets in, like, within touching distance of Hall's lethal, he's just getting set back immediately. I think if Hackme doesn't red ear here, I think he just dies. It's what, +3 to all Dwemer, so that's 5, 10, 17. Yeah.
The Zero doesn't help you.
He's trading, he's not red earing. And the funny thing is that if Hackme doesn't clear this, there's no prophecies to
Yeah,
save him.
it's over then.
It's just, yeah, it's over.
Yeah, we
Does
see the
red ear. Yeah, he has to.
It sucks that you have to red ear your own.
Yeah, but
8/8,
in that
but
situation,
still.
you have to. You maintain a 5/7 on board at least.
Oh wow, there were still 3 craps in the
Yeah,
deck.
we take the Jackal, and then we play the Headhunter here.
Then this wasn't even that bad of an awesome.
Nope.
Usage call.
Yeah, 2 Sanctuary Pets off the top here. Shackles down the 2 most relevant creatures. Fervor.
It's truly as you said, every time it will be almost over, Hackme finds a bailout. With these double sacrifices.
It's interesting that Nocturnal decided to play the Sphere in Shadow here. Obviously deny the card draw. But he could have played it in field lane, shackled down the 5/7, and just like forced a really awkward board state.
I smell the stench of the living.
Because now
here
he
at
has
least
to
we'll see the horse.
to draw 3 from fresh start. Steam Constructor off the top. Trades and trades. Steam Constructor Shadow Lane, Dwarven Spider probably in field lane with a Jackal behind it, I would imagine. You need to be very cognizant of where you're playing your threats through, because you know Hackney is playing Rage. You know there's 2 copies of Rage in that deck.
I think at this point you can't really try to play around Rage.
As Hackney draws 2 more off the Cicero. Scout's Report off the top can maybe dig him a little bit deeper, but he also has a Dark Seducer here. So
Nocturnal is also in Crushing Blow distance.
Yeah, what Nocturnal needs either the 3rd Edict or Crushing Blow here if Hackney drops this Seducer.
Walk without
And the Seducer does indeed come down. Fervor off the top is not going to do it.
Oh,
That is...
and it's 14 health.
Yep, that's a
gained
full
on
heal.
Hackney's end.
Yeah, that's going to be a full heal.
Chimeric spirit of the sky, guide us.
Yeah, I think from this point, if you're Nocturnal, you're just kind of... You're out. I don't think you can really do much more about this, because Cicero is just going to keep drawing Hackney through his deck here. He will eventually find a Rage and a way to kill you. As Hackney draws yet more drain off the top with this Will of the Wisps. Starts off with Scout's Report.
We must protect our stronghold.
Finds a he has found support removal every single time that Nocturnal has played a support. Immediately after he has played the support, he has found the removal.
That's why we saw 2 Druks and 3 Dushniks put into the deck.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. The 3rd Wilds Incarnate drawn.
Yeah, it's late. It's nice to have all of them proc with 2 runes, but
Draw 2. Mechanical Ally.
and you
Doesn't
even
draw
miss.
though.
Maybe the Edict is on top.
What are the other options? Could be the 2nd Necro, could be the last Profiteer. Maybe a Hive Defender. Shadow Shifts the Cicero just to draw more cards.
Is there
Yorn off the top. Followed by a 2nd Wisp and a Viper.
Keeps his rain alive. Even it was the Edict, I told you, there
Yeah.
was a traffic jam.
Too little too late though, I think. Acme has more than Stabilize here,
Yeah.
but double Wisp in play. Yeah, I think if you're Nocturnal, you just gotta scoop it up here.
Go next. Try to save your mental.
Gatekeeper off the top for Hackney. Yeah, from this point, Hackney's just going to attack with the 2 drains every turn, and eventually he'll have a 1-turn swing.
they're in my
You will have
Even now he
13
doesn't-
next turn. Or 16
Yeah.
next turn. And you just
Jack
set it
check
to
to come
6.
down,
Oh, okay.
and a Gatekeeper. Just Bosmer.
The Gatekeeper might even backfire.
I think he'll just
You
he'll
get
attack
one
with it,
next
then
turn.
override it. Well, he's just going to attack with the Gatekeeper and then Gatekeeper
Alright,
and then
because you have
override it
full
with
lane, yeah.
something. Yeah, that's why he dropped the Bosmer as well, I think.
Another horse, but
Edicts. Yeah,
this is 10, 16, 18.
Preparations have been made.
You have lethal. And there is no prophecies, as we know.
Exactly. So this is a free kill here. Let's see if Hackme remembers, because it's muscle memory for a lot of Tesla players to not to play around prophecy.
Is there
Mm-hmm. He did not
Yep.
see the lethal. And he just realized he had lethal.
Yeah. Probably just gonna see Yoran come down here, just develop some more pressure. If this costs Hackme the game, I swear to God.
At this point it doesn't, but it would have been funny.
Yeah, Cradle Crush comes down. Cleans up some of the chaff in Shadow.
Archer's Gambit can even deal the last 1 damage.
Yeah.
But you're
Got
not
support.
fearing that 6-1 at this
He's
point.
on top. And it's a Rage. Yeah. Takes down to 14. But this Rage is just gonna... Yeah.
And that's the end.
Nocturnal finally scoops it up. So that is 2-1 to Hackme so far.
For this match, I feel no reason to announce the sideboard changes because the deck lists are rather random anyway.
Yeah. We'll be
We'll
having
see
a
cards
few
played that
high-
you wouldn't normally.
As we're going to see a few high octane turns of pass.
Into ring 3 cast.
Quicker than
Yeah.
your eyes.
Now Nocturnal could just cast this out and have wasted a ring charge. As the Mighty Ally misses.
Good thing that you played in Shadow then.
Mm-hmm. Sakmi gets in with the Discerning Thief, finds a Drive Mad off the top. Probably just ditch the Ash Berserker here, or at least one of them. I think in a format like this, I think the 2 bodies on the Sadras might be worth a little bit extra.
Yeah, you could also play the Citrus this turn. But
Ditches one of the Sadrases and goes, yeah, and plays the second one. Yeah, I would have preferred to have seen 2 Sadras agents kept, especially because you have no way of activating these Berserkers.
this Cloudrist is really good.
Yeah.
You could have played in field and then offer a trade.
Fingers for Hackme off the top here.
Too scary.
Gets in. Finds Mentor's Ring. Ditch the ring. As we see an Orcish Warhammer drawn for Nocturnal to go with the heavy axe.
Die swift.
Ash Berserker comes down. Second Cloudrist off the top here.
But you just
Yeah, I
play.
think you just play.
I'm not
Ace
sure.
don't. I would have gone Monastic Champion here.
Yeah, especially because you need to use your Magicka
Yeah.
with this format.
Yeah, just play Monastic Champion, force him to deal with it. See Blood Dragon off the top. Because you are taking a lot of damage here, as we see Solars come down and probably be a free Drive Mad here. Yeah. Yeah, Drive Mad is not as flexible as Felled Mighty in a lot of cases, so it makes sense to use it up here. In a format like this, most things are going to have more than 4 attacks, so Fell is just going to be a free edict, essentially. That comes down.
At least
Try for
Black
arrow
Dragon
taunt
pretty
from
much
Steve.
survives anything that Hackme can throw its way. Dragon doesn't clear it. Fingers doesn't
Well,
clear it.
It dies to the Fell here.
But he had no bite.
Yeah,
Oh,
which is
yeah,
why I
there's
was
a
saying
Fell.
that. Yeah, this is why I was saying you're more comfortable using the Drive Mad like on smaller things rather than like wasting your Fell, because Fell can kill some of the more problematic creatures. Yeah, if you're nocturnal, you're not feeling great.
Prophecy.
Prophecy Bolt. Yeah, this goes face.
Face. Face.
Yeah.
And you can do much.
Yeah. Just cast out, cast out.
I'll try to draw their fire.
Yeah, but casting out the Sorest doesn't do much.
Do not vex me.
I mean, blank's 4 damage for a
Split
turn.
strike,
As we
top
see,
deck,
split strike off
for
the top.
lethal.
Yeah.
Haha. 3-1 to hack me now. And it leaves the 2 of decks. Sorcerer versus Guildsworn. Both of the mid-range, or the Sorcerer is a bit more aggressive. We'll see how this goes. For the next match, there were no changes in the deck.
We see the mulligans here. Acme with Execute, Cloudrust, Channel Storm, and Dome Magic Dark Guardian for Nocturnal. Chooses to full ship, gets back a Dark Guardian, Discerning Thief, and Crown Quartermaster. Hackme ditches 2, finds Rage and Javelin, so Hackme is already in a terrible position with his opening hand.
And also Nocturnal had the Quartermaster. And is not on ring, so this is the best turn 1 you could have hoped for. Although there is an Execute.
But this just means that Hackme's hand is absolutely dry until turn 5. Unless he obviously top deck something here, but this is not a position you want to be in. As
And you
Nocturnal
would have
does with
rather
two drop
used
off
the
top.
Execute on the warded creatures.
Oh yeah, on Windkeep, especially. Like, Windkeep's one of the best 2-drops in the game on its own, so... As we see a on-day Clan Sorcerer off the top, but you can develop Discerning Thief here, just so you can ditch the dagger next turn. As Hackme continues to draw dead. Fingers drawn for Nocturnal. That's Dark Guardian. I would have liked to have seen the cycle first, just in case.
And you have
Drop the
them
dagger.
conjure next turn.
As Hackme finally draws a playable creature in the form of Rift Lane.
Jab.
Yeah, but he's forced to Javelin the Thief here. But this is just going to be a nice Exalted Temple Conjurer this turn.
Everything is still in field. Perfect.
Second Rift Lane off the top. But Cradle Crush comes down. Clears one thing.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, if I was Hackme, I would have played Rift In, Ring, Ravenous Hunger, I think.
You're hoping that you can play the Mighty Conjuring next turn.
Yeah, it's not happening, especially with this Elfique top deck.
Yeah.
You're just trading an Elfique.
Great Alphic. Perfect. Nocturnal had the best curve he could have hoped for. Outside of turn 4.
This is like the perfect Sork curve. The Prophecy Harpy comes down.
Doesn't matter that you're only using 2 Fs.
Khajiit.
You hit everything.
Yeah, we see a Storm Matcher come out. If you're Hackme, this has gotta be like so frustrating. Yeah, we're just gonna see the Rift Lane, Hunger turn. Just fill up the lane.
If you can survive, and the Hunger stays alive, there is the Rage.
But you have Nocturnal just gonna lesser ward on probably the Elfique here, and then Fingers for 5, play Dragon Tail Savior.
Or you could lesser ward, and then trade and on day. Alright.
Opts to not use the lesser ward. See the second Rattle Crush come down. This will at least clear up some of this.
Yeah, but still
Where
the
it just
Stormbaiter survives, and that's game for Nock. So in the end, he went
2-3.
2-3. That's 10 points out of the 25 that you could have gathered this round. But the real value of the 10 points will only be determined once the stage ends, and we'll see how much everyone got. Because maybe everyone gets 10, and then it didn't really matter that you lost 3, but maybe everyone gets 25, and then you're really stuck behind with 10 points. So we'll see. Next, we will have Mega Cat playing in just 5 minutes.
So looking at Mag's deck lists, the first deck lists are going to be the free-for-all brings. So these were just the 2 decks that Mag thought would be best. And first off, we have Rage Guildsworn. It's a pretty standard looking list of Rage Guildsworn. Some interesting choices in here. 1 copy of Cloudrest, 1 copy of Douchnik, 1 Channeled Storm. It's interesting to see people cutting Cloudrest, especially with how potent it is in a lot of matchups, especially like versus other mid-range decks. But overall, the list looks pretty solid. Curve is pretty standard, focusing on the 3-drop slot. But other than that, pretty solid looking Rage Guildsworn list. And the second deck that Mag brought was a Empire aggro list. Again, unsurprising. Again, this one is not running the crab package, just one merchant plus the Apprentice Necros, playing Pentostock Glass, similar to Nox version, as well as Gavel of the Ordinator, and curving a little bit higher for 3 copies of Wilds Incarnate, which is also a bit interesting. Next up is the 2 colors, no supports. Mag has brought Rage Crusader, one of Aine's favorite decks. Rage Crusader looks pretty solid here. Again, very heavy on the 3-drop slot, using Grave Viper Brigand as a draw engine alongside your Crusader's Assaults. 1 copy of Clockwork Apostle is really, really interesting. Aspect of Hearsay, also pretty solid creature, good defensively, good aggressively, as well as Mirax since you're playing a slower deck anyway. Next up in the no prophecy, no supports category, we have Halalu aggro. Halalu, not a common deck in the last couple of years of Tessel, so really, really interesting to see Halalu aggro brought. One of like the premier aggro decks during Houses of Morrowind, especially with like Haunted Manor. Really, really happy to see this deck brought. I'm very, very interested to see how this one plays out. Next up, we have the 3 to 6 costs, and Mag has brought a like mid-troll tribunal somehow. Even with this limited curve, he still managed to find a way to bring mid-troll tribunal. This version is playing Chanter of Akatosh just to make use of like Rising of Bones alongside the Schemers and a few of the other very, very good 4-drops. And finally, we have the 2 ofs deck. This is going to be like an aggressive move assassin, seeing a bit more of the aggressive side of assassin here, just because going to play 2 copies of everything. So you can't max out on the move cards, so you have to play some of the in-between stuff. Some interesting choices in here include like Blade's Flanker, Gnarled Rootbender as a target for like Shadow Shift and stuff as a little draw engine, and Caravan Enforcer, not commonly seen in move anymore, just because there's better cards, but because you need to make up that sort of that density is seeing play in here.
So for the first match, Hackme has still the Talvani and the Tribunal, and Mag has the Guildsworn and the Empire. What are the bans, do you think?
Again, it's difficult. Again, another person bringing Empire, so you have to like consider how good Empire is. But also, if you're Hackme, do you really want to play against Guildsworn? Like mid-range Rage Guildsworn is an incredibly potent deck. So, especially like with the way that Mag has built it with like the Hillvoss Magisters and stuff, there's like slightly more wards in here than you would normally see. So again, it's a case of, is my Telvanni getting banned? If my Telvanni is not getting banned, then I need to ban probably Guildsworn. If I'm playing Tribunal, then I'm okay with seeing either. So I have to think you're banning Guildsworn here. And if you're Mag, I think you're probably banning the Tribunal.
So Magaget has the Guildsworn, and then Hackme is on Telvanni.
Yeah, so unsurprising that Magaket banned out the Tribunal. Interesting that Hackme banned the Empire, but I don't blame him. Empire is a very, very aggressive deck, very, very fast. But I think it's just more that Hackme doesn't want to play against Empire.
Let's see the matches then.
Going into game 1 here, we're going to see the opening hands.
You know, the good thing
Necro,
that you ban
Catbot,
the
and
Empire is that you won't lose the ring, because if Empire has the ring, that will be a problem for Telvanni.
Mag is probably just going to ships the Fingers and the Cloudrest, gets back Conjurer and Javelin. Hackme's hand is looking very mediocre here as well, very, very slow.
For the whole
There's a Necro
series, Mag decided not to do changes. On Hackme's end, Flash Eater, 1 Blackhand Messenger, 1 Whodunit, and 1 Amulet is removed, and he added 3 Death Priests and 1 Fingers.
So we're going to see a Fire Skull group come down just to contest this Broom Profiteer. Considering just developing the Amulet here, but does in fact go with the Recruit.
I think the Amulet would have been fine, but this is safer.
Yeah.
Mag passes, he has the ring, so he can play the Temple Conjurer next turn.
Ooh, you take the conscription here, I think, if you're hack me. Well, although
I
you're
think
playing
you're-
against Rage.
Yeah. I think he will take the Death Priest. Yeah.
Does take the Death Priest, yeah.
At least I know Hackme's playstyle.
All power the light of the three.
Channel Storm off the top, perfectly timed to take out this Astronach. But instead we're just going to see Death Priest take out the Phalanx.
But you have a second. Hmm. Yeah, your Phalanx in Shadow.
Never get round.
Yeah, this Phalanx is a lot worse against against Ice Storm, but
And Hackney
Let's
has a
see.
chance to find Ice Storm now. He has thrown the Sun in Shadow.
Sun Shadow. Yeah. Second Conjurer off the top. Rapid Shot Fingers. Nice clean clear on Shadow Lane. Also finds Laneth off the top. Instead of just on a Shadow, but is instead going to opt to ramp and probably play Laneth next turn. You just see Javelin come out just to maintain the health on the Phalanx, and we're going to see Ring Daggerfall alongside.
Yeah, the problem with this play was that I think even if Mag doesn't have a Javelin, Laneth would have been just too slow.
Yeah. So we're just going to see Necramna come down. Are you just playing Fingers as a Javelin here just to remove this Phalanx? If you're Acme? I mean, you could Fire Bloom.
The problem is if you Fingers remove the two 2/2s, the Fire Bloom doesn't clear the Phalanx.
Yeah, so you have to play the Fire Bloom first. But like if the Fire Bloom hits the Daggerfall, you're just
Yeah, you're.
like the other option is you can Fingers and maybe finish off the Phalanx. But you're still leaving like a Daggerfall mage in play.
We must count on our
Sun in Shadow for. Is there negation? Yes, there is negation.
Yeah. Negation just to get rid of this this DFM. Fire Bloom.
Let's see where it hits.
Yeah, so finish off is
okay.
active now. Discerning Thief off the top for Mag here. Gets in for
That
2.
was a really good turn for Hackney.
Temple Conjurer's gonna come down exalted.
And there is the Ice Storm
quicker than your eyes.
from Hackney. Yeah. Unfortunate.
Comes down, but you still have your thief is still up, technically. Acme should probably just take this Fire Bloom, just get rid of the thief.
Goes for the Channel Storm. Thing is, you still have the amulet. Once you clear the board, you will start draining. The only question is if Mag can find a Rage Lethal.
I mean, Mag could belligerent bounce his own thief and play it in Shadow Lane. You have a 7/4 in field. You have a 3/4 in Shadow.
And seems like he'll just do that.
Yeah. Yeah, this makes the most sense.
My paws are
Oh, he plays an exit. Okay, interesting. I need to check, actually, I forgot. I don't think Hackney is running Red Brahmin, is he? He's not. Emily comes down, Skin Town comes down.
now you started to heal.
This camel has just 1 point of health too much for you to be happy about playing a Cradle Crush here.
Yeah, Mac has to find support removal, and there is only one douche sneak, and that's it.
Swings in, marks the damage. It's gotta be like Cradle Crush plus Seducer in Shadow, right?
Prepare yourself.
Are we just gonna see fingers? No, just passes. I would have liked to have seen him just develop a Cradle Crush and then follow it up with the Seducer just to get the stats in Shadow, just to represent potential lethal.
The black
Yeah,
hand
with this Black Hand and the Uprising here,
Yeah, this is. It's exactly what Hakami's deck wants to do.
keeps the Death Priests again.
Yeah,
One
just
of
trying to
the
move the
Cradle
late game.
Crushes will be... Uprising. You go for Uprising, yes.
Yeah.
Seed and stone.
Just like that, I think this game might be over.
I didn't like that he decided to kill off the Blackened Messenger because there is the next Uprising, but it doesn't really matter at this point.
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen him keep it just in case. Goes for Bolt, goes for Cradle Crush. Gets in for
Face
3.
mass. But it's just so hard to push through the
Yeah.
amulet.
Like your opponent has the Amulet plus a full hand. At this point, you're just kind of it's a case of the inevitability of Telvanni here.
And Hackme doesn't have to go face.
Like this Death Priest comes down, takes away the Cradle Crush, you're out of field at that point. Fingers cleans up your board.
And you have time to line it, yes.
But I'm pretty close.
You line it, find one finisher, and then you Uprising next turn. You play your first finisher,
for-
yeah, and that's it.
Yeah, it's for Ailey's, yeah. Because Ailey's plus Uprising is there's zero outs for Mag at that point. I don't think Mag is running Red Deer.
No. Max deck tops at Rage and Vigilant Giant
Yeah.
and then Kano, and that's it. So this should begin.
Shot finds Aren.
Yeah, look at that hero.
We fight for the glory of lost Almeria.
That's another rapid shot. Nice Profiteer. Whodunit for Hack Me off the top. Yep, just Whodunit. Odin your Necromancer.
And Uprising.
Rise,
Yep.
my servant.
Back Camel. You probably just take Galen here, right? It's Galen or negation. It's a case of do you want more value or do you want removal? Hack Me opts for removal here. Go to Uprising. Spawn a bunch of Guardians. Get ourselves back another creature from the discard. Another Camel finding Mentor's Ring.
There is a Viper, there is a Mentor's Ring, but it doesn't matter.
I mean, with the
We have
amount
lethal
of
next turn anyway. Ooh. Crusader's Assault.
that's part of it.
7, even with Rage, it would be just 7 damage. You would have drawn a few there.
You should try and find Abner Tharn. Abner would have been a great top deck, actually. Just get you a Guardian of your own.
Yeah. I think if Mac had Rage here, then this would have been still a match.
Yeah, You
Well,
would have got to
still
refill
on
his
the
hand a little
Kalani
bit.
side, but it's 16. Oh, where is he?
He's pretty good here. Ooh, buzz initiate. Okay. Just gets silenced by negation, more than likely.
Yeah, at least Hackme now has targets for the removals.
Hmm.
That's why he's gonna face first.
It's probably just Death Priest negation. Yeah, you can sanctuary pet the 3/3 negation, the 3/2. Oh, you can also negation your own 8/8 to get in. Another prophecy for Mag.
Sit aside.
Rise, my servant.
Yeah, gets back Viper, and then you can Mental's Ring it for lethal here.
100% lethal.
Yeah.
Found the way, even with the Harpy. The turn
Yeah,
was well played.
those prophecies came a turn too late for Mag. As next up we have the dual color no supports. What was the sideboarding here for Hackney?
Hackme. Let me see. Where's this mag? +1 Stand Watch. +1 Dark Rebirth. -2 Mage's Trick.
Okay, so it's taking a few defensive prophecies more than anything. Just, I mean, I don't know if that's gonna matter versus Mag's deck.
I think he just wanted to get rid of the Mage's Trick.
Yeah, but keep something that cycles. Tidefin comes down.
You'll not be rid of me that easily.
Skaven off the top.
Oh.
It's a decent Skaven actually.
The Nords must take back.
Needs to develop.
I think Skaven would have been better.
Yeah, because
Because
you'd
next
be
turn
left
you
with
will
the body.
Still, yeah. There is still an Schemer to come.
Care to go again?
And you know that Hackme's deck is about Schemers.
Yeah.
But you have the Skaven again.
Harrison play.
Will.
And now you would
Yeah,
have been able
Hackme-
to play the Battalion too.
Yeah, Hackme finds Firebloom here. Turn too late for that. He can't really. I mean, you could. You can Chanter, play a 1 cost, and then Firebloom to get a Schemer back.
Chanter execute Firebloom. Clears everything.
Yeah.
Oh, but goes for
Did it in the wrong order. Yeah.
Oh.
Does just.
It would have been a full clear.
It would have been full clear. You'd also have a Schemer in play. Cycle an extra card.
I have wares if you have coins.
Goes for the draw.
Yeah, I think Hackme is just he knows that Mag has removal for it is the thing, like Cradle Crush, Crushing Blow, Execute. So he's probably just a little bit apprehensive about going for the Chanter on a turn where he can't get max value out of it. So you do see Mag drop the Cradle Crush here. I'm just gonna see Profiteer come down
Preparation.
into Schemer and Chanter, more than likely. Yeah, Chanter, Schemer, Firebloom.
You'll not be rid of me that easily.
Another Schemer off the top. Firebloom hits the 3/5.
Nice try. Care to go again?
Close call. First 0 cost Schemer. Replay the Schemer. Gets another Schemer. Oh, we scheming.
Oh, and you
Firebloom
got
off the top.
Firebloom.
You'll not be rid of me
As
that
we find yet another Schemer.
Nice try. Care to go again?
Hero Spider, the last card drawn here for Hackme.
Do you Crushing Blow the Chanter or do you Crushing Blow the Profiteer?
Yeah, it's a nice, just easy Skaven here. Firebolt plus Fingers just to clear up the Shadow Lane here. Like I could more than likely just going to drop a Vigilant Giant next turn, but it's going to get answered with a Jav.
Yeah, Hackme's deck is just infinite removal.
So Giant comes down. This does get eaten up by the Javelin.
Fine. And you have mana for the Schemer in your hand.
Second Rage. I mean, the funny thing is, I don't think at any point, like, if Mag sticks any creature at any point, it could very well represent Lethal Rage. Just because, like, Hack Me is going to be printing Schemers. They all have 1 health. Any bit of breakthrough damage.
And the thing is, this Boomer is doing wonders.
Let's dance. I'll profit from
You're back
A
to
Dragon
30.
off Mag.
Your coin or your life. Choose.
Brigand, Dark Rebirth, draws a card.
Coin or your life. Choose.
Finds Lesser Ward. Takes a trade.
the Nords must take back.
Yeah, so this is going to be Vanguard plus Rapid Shot for
That's
this.
rid of the Boomer, yeah.
Yeah.
Finally. Oh!
Oh! Interesting.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think we care a lot less about the Schemer. But Meg is developing a lot of decent threats here. Let's see, Brilliant Experiment played on this Aren. Aren is going to find Firebolt.
A -1 cost Firebolt.
What's yours?
You won't foil my plan.
It's the wrong target. But you will still draw 2. Let's see if we can find the Firebolt.
Nice
No.
Chanter.
And Jeff.
The Chanter is relevant for next turn. You have the ward to get a Schemer back. Spends a rage just to clear.
Trade with the Brume.
Yeah, especially blows, trades, gets in. See Fingers. Yeah, I think this is going to be Chanter, Lesser Ward. Start playing cards.
You found the Terrana already, you just need the Ice Spike.
Here's. Yeah, I don't hate this. I don't hate this line. But you're just gonna play your 2/5 drops.
And now
Continue to apply pressure. Brigand can draw 3 cards here.
Believers shall flock to our noble cause.
Jab into another
Okay.
Chanter.
Second Chanter, yeah.
And
Here we
then
go.
draw the 2.
Now we're printing. More
And you're
Schemers
drawing
drawn off the
into
top.
0 costs. Oh.
Oh, sweet rolls. These also relevantly have 1 health for rage potential.
Don't be rid of me that easily. Don't be rid of me that easily.
We're just gonna keep cycling these Schemers. Lesser Ward.
Yeah.
This will get 2 more Schemers because we've just replaced them. Stand watch.
2 cost is Bruma. We've seen 2 of them. What else is there?
I think if you're Hack Me, I think you just. I just think you don't play it.
Bruma and Shimmering Peddler is the true cost. slot. But you wouldn't get full value.
Yeah. And watch.
Still good. Okay.
More likely his Shimmering, I'd say.
Oh,
No, it's Profiteer.
the third
Okay.
Profiteer. That's good. You have your health gain again.
Rapid Shot. Finds Clockwork Apostle.
The Rabbit Shot was a sign for like, but you don't want to initiate and rage. Is the problem.
No. I think it's Initiate Clockwork Apostle. Oh, he is just Initiate Raging. Okay,
Yeah,
interesting.
after the Rabbit Shot, I was almost sure that this is going to happen, but I did not like it.
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen him just play the Clockwork Apostle and
And there is the Ice
like
Spike.
play...
You're caught
Yeah.
all your life.
He hasn't drawn his entire deck yet though, so he can't really go for it. This is the thing about this deck, is you have to play the entire deck before you can kill your opponent. It's very similar to Doomcrag in that sense.
Yeah.
So you see Shimmering Peddler. Execute. Sweet roll. Get a sweet roll. Just trying to farm up as much health as he can here.
Also, we have seen 2 rages, so there is only 1 rage left.
See Albert Dragon Knight come down. And a brilliant experiment drawn off the Peddler. Ooh, as we see the Crusader's Assault.
Yeah.
I mean,
So much work yet.
the Crusader's Assault could have been relevant. You could have still drawn the Rage.
I have no patience for fools.
What's yours is mine.
Nice try.
But if the next card off the top of Mag's deck is the Rage, we're still in for a game.
Yeah, Hackney is just trying to thin the deck. We don't know how much of it is left, but these Grey Viper Brigands did draw a bunch now.
Okay, so we can see the red marker on the deck, so I think we're like down to the last 5.
Yes, that's
If
fine.
I'm not mistaken.
You won't like
Which means next turn is the next turn.
Oh.
not be rid of me. that
Schemer,
easily.
draw a card.
You'll not be rid of me that easily. Nice try. Can go again. Justice of Akatosh!
The Fork Bolt. I was gonna say the Fork Bolt one of the Gearbox Spiders to get the Schemers out of the deck,
Me that easily.
rather than replacing them here.
Will return.
But you can just play them next turn.
Oh, the third Rage was on top.
Oh,
He would have had it.
it was on top. And here comes the combo with the Ice Spikes.
Yeah. So from here,
Out of cards.
so from here it is just game. Hackme's deck is going to be entirely Ice Spikes.
Yep.
And a Schemer, but the Schemer is going to cost 0, so he can just constantly cycle for
Yep,
Ice
there's the
Spikes from
Schemer.
here.
Oh, you could have just played it on anything else, and then not have to worry about Schemers anymore. Not as if it would matter at this point.
Yeah, and there we have it. We've just seen the highest IQ mage deck. Yeah, so that is 2-0 to Hackme.
Worthy win of a Master Series champion.
So next up we have Agroholalu versus Rage Ebonheart.
The changes on Hackmy's end is he removed one fresh start, 2 boss mirror, 2 Mighty, 1 leaf lurker, and added 1 crushing blow, 2 Brotherhood Slayer, and 3 Dushnik.
Wait. Did you hear that?
Again, the lack of Squish the Wimpy is is getting me. Why would you not run Squish in this deck? See, Mountain Lion for Magdacket here. Mountain Lion's pretty good. You can Mountain Lion plus Dagger. Yeah, get in for a bunch of damage again. No prophecies, so you can just swing with impunity. Ring Viper, or we can ring Douche.
Dushnik is coming in and again and again. It paid off the last time versus Nock, so why not put it in again?
I think you just play the House Carl. You trade with the 5/2 here.
You cloak, and you retain Aspirant. You can
Yeah,
House Carl next turn.
Hmm.
You're losing a card draw from the rune, but you're developing more pressure. And Hackme does not have... Okay. Hackme doesn't have Cradle yet.
Second Aspirant off the top. Ale Guardian and Martin Septim drawn. You can Viper here, but it doesn't feel
For
good.
the 1-2.
Yeah, it does. It feels terrible, but
You just have to go for Martin.
yeah. Gambler is a solid top deck here. You could also you can cloak the defenses to force the Viper trade. Just to make it really suck for Hackme here, you could cloak it. Yeah,
Indeed, did. Oh.
Remain steadfast.
and Witherhand Cultist as well.
So the rapid shot doesn't help you anymore.
Exactly.
Which means it's actually a Viper against the 1-4.
Yeah, you.
Uh,
Oh, this has got to be like the worst feeling Viper. I mean, you can Cradle Crush this.
okay, yeah,
but...
this is much better, but you're and you don't know
It's-
actually Magaket has lethal with the Cliff Racer
Yeah.
in hand. And yeah, there we go.
Very quick game from the Lalu deck here.
And finally, after 2 matches, Mag managed to win 1, and a convincing victory at that. So now we go for the 3-6 cuz decks. We have Tribunal versus the Dagoth. The changes in Dagoth are that you remember those Headless Agents? Yeah, they are not in the deck anymore, and he added 3 Cradles against the Tribunal. So that's what we will see in the next match.
Interesting that he cuts Sadras when negation isn't available here. I would have thought Sadras versus this type of tribunal, like something slower, would have been a lot better. We see Icy Shambles kept for Magaket and double Sentinel Reclaimer and Ashlander Punisher for Hackme.
Yeah, the double Reclaimer must feel awesome. Especially with this curve. Because you're generating 1 and 2 cost cards that you will be able to use.
To fill in gaps.
Speak.
See Initiate come down. We're just going to potentially put the mountain line down to. Nope, instead goes for Reclaimer here. It's pretty good because you can mountain line plus Steel Sword next turn. Highlight Defender is going to make that very, very awkward here. Hand of Daggett off the top for Hackme.
Ashlander, yeah, in field. Mag gets a trade in Shadow.
Great Shambles. Yeah.
and Shadow.
And then pass.
And he has Fingers for next turn. He opted to play slower with not going face last turn. And Dagot, of course, has hand on turn 5.
As it should be.
It's still dead to the fingers.
Yeah, fingers. Nope. Yeah, okay. Yeah, goes for Chatterman. This was the other line I was considering, just to develop the body. It also, if you do this, it tells your opponent, oh, he doesn't have hard removal for this. I'm just going to develop into this. So the fingers can potentially be a lot stronger in the next turn or so.
Yeah, the fingers basically has 5 damage left because 1 will be spent on the hand. So that's 1, and you have 2 and 3.
Yeah, we're going to see Mountain Lion into Lumbering Ogre probably. Yeah, and this gets
Oh,
this gets pretty well punished by fingers here.
Yeah.
1 on hand, 2 on Ogre, 3 on the Mountain Lion. Trade your initiative.
yeah, footprint. The only problem is that you're not going phase because you don't want Acme to have more cards.
Yeah, this is a resource game that Mag has to play here. Just with how Dagoth functions.
But it's hard
Because
to play a resource game with these reclaimers.
Nice try. Care to go again?
5 and 8, they will
This is a big reason why Tribunal fell off, is because you frequently don't have the removal to keep up with the threat density of a lot of decks. Which means you're forced to, by deck building, to play a resource game, and you just do not have the resources to keep up with your opponents a lot of the time. This is why we saw Tribunal fall off so heavily after House of Morrowind, when a lot of the stuff got nerfed.
Let's put these to
The next.
Another Mountain Lion. Let's see Garnag come down.
time to make more enemies.
That comes down. This is not a bad Ice Storm. Yeah.
Actually, that's
Takes it.
Okay.
It's decent value because you get to clear off 2 creatures while also proccing your tome here. Was the Garnag? No, just a
just
hard
pass.
pass. Interesting.
He's styling Mac to go face.
Yeah.
That's a good target.
Piercing Twilight gets rid of all the hands.
Handmag
Try
does
for
not
Jarl.
take the bait.
And this Jarl does not draw cards thanks to the amount of health that Mag has been able to gain off the initiate swings. Spends the Viper. This hand is looking increasingly worse for Hackme.
You see, the Ashcan would have been better than the Jarl because Ashcan would have drawn 3 cards here. And this
Yeah, but you would have had to discard 5 cards.
But it would have drawn, and Jarl didn't.
The Shamble is going to lock down this Garnag, meaning all these items do nothing, including the freshly drawn Battle Mace. Let's see, fingers clear up the guard here. But this crushing blow is just going to be a nice clean answer.
Believers shall flock
Yeah,
to
ring
our
blow.
noble cause.
You get the Tricust. It's... oh,
Ooh, finds an edict.
that's good, actually. Silent Pilgrim is an interesting choice in this deck.
It makes sense in a couple of decks when you can tutor like specific pieces.
Kneel before the 6th house.
And with the Chanter here, it's good because you can get Pilgrim for free if you play a Tricust.
Rising of Bones here is also very, very good. You can Rising of Bones, sacrifice this Pilgrim, get 2 4-drops off your Chanter. Ooh,
Fingers.
gets rid of fingers. Play this in shadow.
The tribunal will always
Get yourself. Oh,
And
sorry,
Hackney
Mioni.
concedes. That's 2-2 now. Mag
And
is on
Michaela
the
will be
same
proud.
count as Nocturnal right now. 10 points. But can he get more?
Well, it comes down to the 2-ups, doesn't it?
Move Assassin versus Rage Guildsworn. Move has a few creatures with low health. So we'll see. We'll see if the Rage pays up.
Yeah. I mean, Guildsworn has some decent removal. It's a case of if they can find it before move really gets rolling.
Yeah. There were no changes on either side here.
Okay, both just trusting their instincts with this one. So Profiteer, High Defender, and Cloudrest for Hackme versus a Blackhand, Prankster Mage, and Lightning Bolt for Maggacket. And Hackme ditches the Cloudrest, finds a Feldamighty. Full ship for Maggacket, finding 2 1-drops, 2 very good 1-drops.
Silent as the
We see
grave.
Brotherhood Suspect dropped. Incredibly powerful 1-drop in Suspect here. Gets in for 2, develops the other 2 1-drops.
Use all of your resources. This is really good.
Yeah, this aspirant just makes playing a 2-drop super awkward, especially with the dagger, just because it threatens to trade into pretty much every 2-drop.
You might just go Broom of Shadow. Or of course the Initiate, if you want to use the ring.
preparations have been made.
Does in fact go Broom of Shadow. See Bolt off that for Mag here.
Go for 6.
Just gonna see Awakened Dreamer come down and just pass. Gonna hold this dagger until it's worth playing, or until you can use it to activate your Dreamer.
Yeah, the only problem he has right now is that there's no way to activate the Dreamer. For now.
Hive Defender comes down.
And draw into it? No. You can't.
Ooh, Bewildering Speed though.
Like Narnu.
Bewildering Speed's a great drop for next turn. Yeah, these aspirants are just they make field lanes so awkward to play into. As we see Suspect, so we're just gonna play Suspect in Shadow Lane, probably do a Bewildering Speed move here. Brave, then Aspirant. Oh, okay.
Dagger
interesting. Probably
trade.
Dagger Aspirant, yeah. They're probably going to play the Suspects and Shadow, or Bewildering Speed them.
Silent as the grave.
Yep, just make them large.
Trade it all.
Take the trade. Yep.
Remove the health gain. And there's 2 muses in hand.
That's the champion. Hackme's hand is just so slow compared to this.
You know why it's good that Mag doesn't have a creature to trigger Awakened Dreamer on? Is because Hackme can't
Just
use
Feldamighty.
Feldamighty.
Yeah, Cliff Racer.
Cliff Racer gets you...
Get you down to 5.
5 damage next turn.
Any creature sticks next turn,
With the
pretty
Swift
much
Strike, it's over.
Swift Strike. Yeah. Hackme is going to gain 2 from these two contracts. We can
So
play.
now... Oh.
Will be all that is needed.
Unfortunate.
Oh,
Wrong ordering.
rapid shot.
Execute.
Execute. Okay, full clear.
And Warcrafter does not help you with 5 damage.
This is fine though. All you need is something to stick.
Mighty Conjuring? Yes, Mighty Conjuring.
Defender. Knock the ward off. Yep. See Phalanx off the top for Hackme.
Now the only problem is that you cannot really go face because you will be giving cards to the move deck. But you have
discard
2
both
guards
lanes here.
in both lanes, so you're pretty fine here. Yeah. Another is a turn late. And with that hunger in Shadow now, It means that next turn, hack me 1, basically. Yep.
Swift Strike to cycle, finds nothing. This is pretty much game over here.
Yeah, if there
It's
would have been
Smuggler.
a finish off, you could have tried to get that, but there's no finish off in the deck. So it's over.
Yeah, Hack Me just able to stabilize, just on time. You see Apex Predator.
Has guards in both lanes, has a 5-1 that heals.
Play the 2 warded threats in Shadow. Stops the healing for a turn.
Rapid shot.
Yeah, so that's Hack Me. Still getting for 5.
Yep. Go fit. Oh.
Trades, interesting.
Alright. Which means that he's just setting up lethal for next turn.
Yeah.
As the
Well,
other
yes.
hunger. It's fine.
Yeah. It's game over. You can
You
play
can
the
trade
you can
with
play.
the flamethrower, but yep. Just not enough.
Will enjoy feasting on your bones.
Chimeric spirit of the sky, guide us.
Down. And this is
That one
pretty much
does it.
game over.
But
Yep, this is the lethal next turn here. Smuggler is pretty good here. You can trade, play
it
Smuggler.
was
move
lethal
your
this
Predator.
turn, even with prophecies.
So yeah, he's got what, 21? The 21 on board. It's in. Just taking the trades.
Radar clears. Yep.
Yeah.
Khajiit will keep you safe.
Alfik. And this is yeah.
And it's a 2-3 again. Same as with Nocturnal, just on different decks. Nag has
Another-
gathered 10 points.
Don't say another 10-pointer.
And we'll be back in 5 minutes with City Talker versus Pleased and Hanged. And welcome back. We are just about to jump into the matches between City Talker and Please Don't Hack Me, but before that, let's look at City Talker's deck lists.
So, taking a look at Toker's list, we have, first of all, the 2 free picks, and Toker has brought a very, very strange-looking Telvanni list. So this is Slay Telvanni, but there is some very, very off-the-wall card choices in here. Just off the rip, I can point to a few things that I find very, very interesting, like the 1 copy of Staff of Sparks, the Fork of Ripolation, and Doomcrag, which is a very silly little combo, which can draw you a million cards, but I don't know if it's worth the deck slots overall. But yeah, just a very strange list looking at it. It's very difficult to analyze how this will play. It's kind of one of those decks that we kind of need to see it in game before I can really draw any conclusions, because to me, this doesn't make too much sense. But again, that's just me. This is not my... Slay has never been my forte, but there is some interesting cards that Toker opted to not include in a deck like this. Things like Palmrat Renegade. There's no Cat's Paws, there's no draw engine, so it would have made sense to maybe have Palmrat Renegade. Also being a 5-cost 4/6 is just a decent body. So just some interesting choices in here overall. I'm interested to see how this actually plays. It might play better than it looks. There's certain decks in the game that are like that just play a bit better than they seem. So it's going to be interesting to see this one run. But the second choice of free deck that Toker brought was a very, very strange looking Dominion deck. So this is Chanter Dominion, but it's like a very strange version of Chanter Dominion. There's a very niche combo in here with Conjuration Tutor plus Spirit Knife. The Lava Atronachs are 7 mana, so if you play Spirit Knife with Chanter on 12, you do tutor up a Lava Atronach. That is worth noting. But again, there's some very strange choices in here. So you've got, like, at the top end particularly, Nahgrin Dragon Priest is a very, very wacky choice. Not a very good card. Hasn't seen play since way back in the day when it used to be broken. Kodla's Treachery is another very interesting choice. It's a 9-mana Javelin. You have to combo it with another action to steal something. But at that point, you're overpaying for a Marak without a body. So, again, a strange choice. Why not just run Marak? And then you also have Aren Dominion Queen. An interesting card, and a card I wish was better, because I played quite a bit of it when it came out. Just was never really good enough. It was just too expensive for what it does. But I am interested to see how Aren actually performs, because I think maybe she didn't quite get the fairest of shakes when it came to her playability. A few other interesting one-ups to point out here are, like, Smuggler's Hall is very, very strange inclusion. I don't know, I think it's potentially just to trigger Shimmerine Peddlers. Standwatch is a prophecy, but also card draw, so again, interesting, kind of alongside Shadow Shift as a cantrip. Very strange choices in the 2 free picks, so I'm very curious to see how these decks play. But next up, we have the dual color no supports, and we have a mono blue, like, action mage. So this is a deck focused around Crystal Tower Crafter and Ultimate Dragon Knight. You're looking to basically snowball buffs using actions, things like Lesser Ward. You've got Ice Spike to try and cycle while also proccing your action triggers. Again, it wouldn't be City Talker if there wasn't a couple of weird choices in here. You got Jazargo at 4. Jazargo's just a bit of a fun card, so I can't hold too much of a grudge here. But the Fork of Ripolation is a bit of a strange inclusion, considering most of your creatures are not big enough to trigger it. So there's a couple of very specific targets for it. It does synergize very, very interestingly with Renegade Magister, because the Magister does the damage when he is doubling the action damage. So if you fireball something and the Magister deals the extra 2, he will get the Slay trigger. So there is some interesting applications there, but it's just a very interesting include. Again, we see another copy of Speaker Tyrannus, just a bit of a fun card as well in here, similarly to the Dominion list we just saw. It's an interesting list. I'm looking forward to see this one play. I think this one is probably fine. I know Ultimate Dragon Knight can be pretty difficult to deal with if you get a 0-cost reward on it, like the turn you play it. Turn 2 Dragon Knight plus Lesser Ward is pretty difficult to get through, so it can high roll. But the next deck we have is the No Prophecies, No Ice Storm deck. Midrange Ebonheart is a deck that I actually quite like. It's a deck that didn't really catch on all too much, but it was a really, really interesting archetype to build around because it had access to a lot of very, very powerful tools. Obviously, any decks that had access to Sword of Revenge were worth looking into, but you also had cards like Forerunner of the Pact, which is a very, very interesting effect. 3-cost 4/3 that when it attacks and survives, just draws another copy of yourself from the deck, so it's a bit of deck thinning, it's a little bit of card draw, it basically gives you just more threats to deploy, which is very, very powerful, as well as obviously Yoran Skull King being a very, very powerful 5-drop, just discounting cards in your hand and making your opponent's effects a little bit more expensive. But overall, really, really nice list. I do love Ebonheart midrange, so hopefully we get to see this perform at the peak of its power, because it is a very powerful deck. Next up, we have the 3-6 cost, and and we are having a bit of deja vu. It is Ebonheart once again. So this is I mean, it's difficult to really give like archetypes to these 3 to 6 cost decks because you're working within such a narrow mana window. But this is what I can pretty safely call a mid-range 3 to 6 cost Ebonheart. You're playing a lot of the mid-range creatures. You're playing mammoths. You've got Withering Cultists, switch off like javelins and edicts. You've got Martin Septum here for some mana tuning. Illicit Butcher as a big old harpy, and just a bit of a. It's just a bit of a beef fest. Basically, you're just playing a lot of big stat lines, big creatures, and hoping to get over the line with pressure in a mid-range game plan. And finally, for the 2 ofs, we have Orc Warrior. So an interesting bring for the 2 ofs, because orcs are a tribe that don't really have the creature density to really not be playing all the orcs. Like because you're playing 2 ofs, you're going to have to include some of the not good orcs to make this tribal deck work. So there is some strange choices, like we're seeing the Reflective Automatons just to help make up numbers. It's interesting that there's Automatons in here, and not Ring of Lordship. That kind of became a bit of a standard in certain decks towards the end of the game. I think a lot of the NPO guys kind of standardized that, playing Automaton plus Lordship to just give you a massive discount across your entire deck. But another interesting set of cards to look at here is the 2 copies of World Leaders of Irie and the 2 copies of Skyshard. World Leaders of Irie is a very interesting include in this deck. I am very interested to see what it actually does. It's incredibly slow, so we'll see if it actually synergizes in any shape with the aggressive orc game plan. But we'll see. There is a combo there with Irie plus like Champions Arena for massive burst damage, but it's incredibly slow. So we'll see how that pans out.
And before starting the matches, let's see what you think will be the bans we have on City Dogger's side, a Telvanni and a Dominion, while on Heckmey's end, the Telvanni and the Tribunal deck.
So I think if you are Toker, you're probably just going to ban the Tribunal. It's a very weird deck. It has a lot of very good removal, which is good into both your decks. You're aiming to stick with like the Slay one, you're aiming to stick large creatures, you're aiming to stick supports. Tribunal has both removal for large creatures and removal for supports and spades, so I think you're looking to maybe ban the Tribunal out from under Hackmey. And if you're Hackmey, it's a bit weird because like the Telvanni deck has a lot of very greedy aspects to it that can potentially grind you out if you're playing like the Uprising value game plan, because there's just I think Toker's Telvanni can potentially match the late game potential of that deck. And then you have like this very strange Dominion deck that it's again difficult to evaluate. So I don't know. I think if you're Hackmey, you're probably going to ban Telvanni because Telvanni is Telvanni at the end of the day. It has the opportunity to high roll. So I think you just ban the Telvanni. So I think you're going to see a potential Telvanni ban for Hackmey and a Tribunal ban for Toker.
And here we are, City Toker versus Blizzard Hackmey. We will watch the full series here. Because of technical difficulties, we have recorded the matches with Core, but then it turned out that the file did not have Core's and the game's voice track, and because of that I will have to do the recording again. So we will watch City Toker versus Blizzard Hackmey, commentated just by me. The first match is Aldmeri Dominion versus Tribunal Temple, the free slot after the bans. And here we go. This matchup should be favored by Tribunal, I think, because City Docker's deck is running damage-based removal and then running curses or curse-like effects, and Tribunal is, with the high stats it has, is favored against both. The way City Docker would win is by drawing, so the Grey Viper Brigand in hand is important. We also see a Grey Viper Brigand in Hackmey's hand, which means this will be just matched by another. Yep. Now here, oh, Hive Defender. You could either double trade and play the Baron Zaya. I think that would have been the better choice, but decides to go for the Hive Defender, which will now mean that when the Emperor's Blade comes down, that will double trade with both Hive Defender and the Grey Viper Brigand. Execute is useless at the moment. The only target Execute could hit is the Merchant's Camel in Hacker's hand at the moment. You will try to play Peddler when you can also trigger the effect. Oh. Oh, Brigand. Yep, you just trade down, play the Brigand. Drain Blood. For that you will need a creature to sacrifice. With the Peddler, Drain Blood is also a draw spell. We see Piercing Twilight in Hackney's hand and he plays it. This was just put into the deck during sideboarding. Remove the Grey Viper Brigand, and that means the draw is gone from City Token.
Would you like a bow that shoots rainbows too?
And this is where it starts to show that Acme is favored in the matchup. We'll see the Channel Storm on the Peddler, removes the draw, plays the Viper, draws one. City Talker now has to double trade, and then plays the Baronzai in Shadow, which will just be mad. Oh, there is also Rising of Bones. It can be Rising of Bones, it can be Harpy. I would even consider just not caring about it, play the Sarioni. Yeah, Hackme is hovering it too. Interesting line. You keep the Solitaire, I think, for Brigand. You could also keep the Camel. Is like, right now Brigand is just draw one, but I know that Hackme has put in Burials too, so the Solitaire is better in the long term. And right now you don't really need the draw, you have the hand advantage. We see a Schemer, that's another source of draw. And you'll have to execute the Harpy, otherwise they are just trading. Oh, Burial. Now you can bury your Brigand, but at the moment you don't even need it. But if you would play Burial, sacrifice your own Brigand, Burial a Brigand again, Solitaire Brigand, and that would give you 4 draw. No, 3 because you would draw 1 Brigand back from discard. We see now the Sarioni Exalted, which means we will see a guard as well. Guard's the 2/5. Yeah, because Sarioni doesn't get the buff, you couldn't guard Sarioni. Schemer would have just traded favorably. You went for the Camel. Oh, that's unfortunate. I just realized this is the top deck. You keep Aaron and you have to discard a Nasi and an Alfiq. Also, discarding Alfiq gives Hackme the chance to Solitaire a Piercing Twilight. And that would mean he gets rid of the other 2 Alfiqs. Of course, there is 1 Alfiq in City Talker's hand, which Hackme doesn't know of. We see the Solitaire. I assume yes for the Twilight, and then goes for Alfiq, I think. Schemer. Interesting, so this is the last source of draw in City Talker's hand, or I mean deck. I guess Alfiq isn't even activated yet. There's also Dawn's Wrath if needed. Now he hovers the Burial, but just goes with Ordinator, because a 3/3 with guard will just help trading. You'll play the Aaron here. Next turn is Alfiq and the Drain Blood.
The rightful ruler of old Tamriel has arrived.
Execute. That's unfortunate. You would have liked a better action. Don't even know if there was any in the discard. We see Cast into Time on Aaron. And Negation, I would assume. You could do Negation, yes. And if you want to Burial. Now the question is if you bury other Brigands, or you bury something that you want to draw back with Necro next turn. We see a Chanter, yes. That means that you're playing the Necro and execute End Rising of Bones next turn, which will summon you also a 1 cost and a 4 cost and a 4 cost. You see the Alfik now? I would have considered playing down threat here because there was. I don't think you will be playing down threat after this anymore. But of course, this is certainly a better play and is of the most value. You got back your Salter too, which is quite nice, and you even can Piercing Twilight the Alfig. Now you don't have to fear about any Stormators coming later. It's just Stand Watch, which will mean that you can get rid of the Chanter, although you will probably play the Execute. Yep, because that's the only target left for Execute. Of course we see the Battlestalker in hand, but this was worth it more. Interesting that he decided not to play the Curse before trading. We see a Fingers, which will mean that Hackme can completely clear Shadow. He has 11 damage on board. Doesn't really have creatures at the moment, but has the Solitaire, which means that he can draw infinite with Brigand. Could also just go for the Chanter if he wants to. Passes! I would have played the Solitaire for the Brigand and just let it be there in hand. Conjuration Tutor shuffles 7 costs in, and we see, oh, Chanter in hand. And with 12 Magicka, that means that you can Chanter and Spirit Knife next turn, and that will summon a 7 cost, which is the Lava Eater you just shuffled in. And because of Conjuration Tutor, that will mean 2 Lava Eaters. Quite nice. We also see the Theoden. I'm pretty sure you will play that against this Dominion. You're now set to always draw 2 outside of the next turn when we already know that there is a Leviator with 8/8 coming. So we see the Chanter, the Spirit Knife destroys the Theoden, summons the Lava Eater, and then we see it doubled from the Tutor. Now this is just Dawn's Wrath in the Shadow Lane, and then trade down in field. It will also completely get rid of the board, and now you can Solitaire into Grey Viper Brigand. I think you can do it next turn. Then you will be summoning another 3 cost because of Chanter 2. Oh, you see Galen. With Galen, you can now Solitaire for Necro. Of course, yeah. And then we even see the Brigand summoned. And then go Rising of Bones. Since you have the Chanter, it's best if you use it. We see a Solitaire that was so quick. And the second Rising of Bones. And now this is where everything is of high health. And then City Talker has Curses, Drain Bloods, Drain Vitalities, and Channel Storms. You can at least use 1 Drain Blood and the Leaf Locker. But Acme is still drawing 2 per turn, has a better hand, and is now just waiting for this to end. You just need...
Believers shall flock to our noble cause. Revive us! Revive us! At the ready.
And there we see the Drain Blood getting rid of Chanter. And then you can play the Leaf Locker.
The forest is
There we
my
go.
cloak.
Thing is, from this point onwards, Hackme is drawing 2 cards per turn. City Talker's hand is useless. Now he's just waiting for Hackme to build the board and then push for lethal. And City concedes. It's game 1 for Hackme. And here we go. The second match, dual color, no support. It is a mage mirror now. On the one side, City Talker is playing this action mage with Crystal Tower Crafter and Ultimate Dragon Knight. He has both the key cards in his hand already, and also the Dragonfire Wizard row is quite nice. And on Hackme's end, this is just the combo deck with Therona Ice Spike, and then Chanters, and using Schemers and Zero Cost actions to cycle through your deck. Interesting that City Talker didn't play the Warcrafter the last turn, because it could have been a bait for Execute. We just see the Dragonfire Wizard.
Nice try.
Next turn, oh yeah, it will be Dragon Knight and Firebolt. You could also Dragon Knight and trade, but that doesn't make sense. Crystal Tower Crafter and Warcrafter would have been another play, but if you haven't played Crystal Tower Crafter the last turn, then you won't play it anymore.
Care to go again?
You see another Schemer. This is just... You could just trade with the Dragonfire Wizard, get the Flame Lash, play the Renegade Magister, and then you have so much damage next turn. Instead goes for... I'm not sure about playing the Peddler Wizard though.
Those two.
Fingers will get rid of... Oh, goes for full clear on the Dragonfire Wizard, gets rid of scaling.
Experimentation is the core of knowledge.
5 is a breaking point for Hackme. Lightning Bolt cannot deal with that Dragonfire Wizard. Plays the Brigand. Spider. Do you really... Yeah. You play the Broom because you need creatures that you should have played it first, and that would have been +2 health. We see Fingers. Is it Fingers time? Regenerate. That means that Hackme will have to clear the Renegade Magister in 1 turn. Now this clears everything. You get a Stand Watch from Prophecy, which just gives guard to one of Talker's creatures. Doesn't really matter since Hackme is playing actions. And now you have to get rid of this 5/5. You see Firebolt on the Peddler, Firebolt on the Magister, and then Lightning Bolt. Almost clears it, but the problem is you need health gain and you don't have it right now. Peddler will draw a card. It is a Forked Bolt. Can help with the Warcrafter, although you will be trading. We see the Crystal Tower Crafter gains 1 from the Flame Lash. Now Forked Bolt and Lightning Bolt can deal with Magister 2, yeah, deal with that. Lightning Bolt the Initiate. You can also Lightning Bolt the Crystal Tower Crafter if you're afraid of that. It just goes for the Initiate. Manic Jack. Now if you Manic Jack first anyway, and then you can Mutation. Give the Crystal Tower Crafter +1. And then you swing for 5.
Behold.
And next turn you have Firestorm 2. Ward! That's also really good because Toker goes for the aggressive play. The Ward would have helped a bit because Hackme has to spend 1 more action on removing the Ward and then the Manic Jack. We see now the Chanter goes for the Zero Cost. Throws, but you only have 4 left. Fire Bloom could help here. A Forked Bolt will get rid of the Crystal Tower Crafter. You draw another. You need the Fire Bloom to hit Manic Jack. And it hits Manic Jack.
You'll not be rid of me that easily.
You still have 4 left. It's just a Schemer in field. and then you hope that it doesn't draw into one reach. This call. Summons a schemer. Oh, there is no schemer in the deck. Just for display, it's safer. Firebeam will also get rid of the Peddler now. While Hackme is at 3 health. Short City Talker, top deck some Rage, that would be it. Mixy Fingers will get rid of the Schemer, the Peddler, and the Enchanted 2. And now we see Magic Jack. 3 health means that he has no way of dealing with that right now. Nothing in hand, so you will have to do... Oh, Bruma. Bruma can help. Now, if you close call, play the Schemer again, that's +1 health. And then you play the other Schemer. And that's +1 more. Execute is useless. Interesting, he went with Experiment. Kill 1, you're at 5.
Would you like a bow that shoots rainbows too?
At 6. Not bad at all. Zargo. Oh, wait. No. There is one scroll that deals 5/5 to both players. And he gets it! Oh, the game goes to City Talker on the Mage Mirror. That was crazy. And now after this Mage Mirror, we have the next one, and it is an even Heart Mirror. So let's see the No Prophecies and No Ice Storm deck duke it out. Here we go, we joined a turn later. It is now turn 3, no 2, but 3 with Ring, so now can play the Mammoth. We see Traitor and Mammoth, quite good starting hand from Toker. This looks like an actual aggro or mid-grow Ibn Heart. Uses the mute for trading and goes face with the Traitor. Interesting that he decided to silence the Mammoth instead of the 4/4 Traitor, because then you could have gotten rid of the Last Gasp, giving Hackme a 2/1 guard. But with this double Relentless Raider, you'll be set for victory here, I think. Like, it is turn 5. What can Hackme do? There is Hist Mage. There is Rapid Shot. Rapid Shot deals with Raider. You can imbue the Bossmare and use the Quicksilver Crossbow to get rid of the Traitor. This helps you. But, oh, Raz is unfortunate.
I will be triumphant.
Raz just means that you have 2 turns to get rid of everything and stay above 4.
I only need 1 shot.
And as we see, that won't be possible. Alina gets rid of the 5/4, but there is still the Haunting Spirit left. And even if you could deal with this, which I think you can, yes, because Sanctpath, there is still the Rezemdar coming down next turn as soon as you pass. Ghost Fates are 4 and Hackme will be left at -1. So after a few longer matches, we just see a quick aggro victory in the aggressive stage, finally. And that's 2-1 to City Talker now, which means that he is at 10 points. Now, until now, both players, Nocturnal and Megacat, got 10-10. So we'll see if it changes. If City Talker wins one more, then he is in the lead. The next match is Ibn Heart versus the Dagoth. We have seen the strength of this Dagoth deck from Hackme in the last 2 matches. So let's see if the Ebenheart can now defeat it. There we go, a rage sighting. Hackme is not in the lead at the moment. The starting hand is not great from either side, but City Talkers is a bit better. Also, Tucker has the ring, which means he can play the Connect Up Gambler if he wants to right this turn. There's also Galen. Do you want to Galen anything here? I don't think so. You Gambler, probably they did because... Oh, wow. Went for the Butcher instead, because you don't have anything to consume yet. A Moontage Guardian. But you just Galen. You Galen what? Crescent. Yeah, probably that was like... But still... interesting. Ashley the Punisher cannot go field because then it is just trading down, but if you go shadow then you are giving up field completely, so you have to fight it. Blood Dragon is really good for Toker now. He can just trade with the 4-3 go face with Galen and play the Blood Dragon. We see a giant snake from Hackme. Could slow down this game a turn. You just have to use it at the right moment for a swing. We see Torval Executioner. But with the Crescent, you can now just trade. Go face. Unfortunately, this means that it is damaged. If there will be... Oh, we have an Alina. The Cliff Racer would have been able to go there as well. He wanted to protect his health more than deal with the 3-3 and have the Cliff Racer trade with Blood Dragon next turn. We now see a 7-7. The Torval Executioner has 7 power, but you cannot... Alright, play Cedric's Agent and the Ritual, which will mean that you can get rid of the 7-7. And also stop the Breakthrough. Quite nice. I think, yeah, Stoker has the Burnclan Night Stalker, the Cedric's Agent. And Gamblers, probably the Gatekeeper or the Moontage Guardian. Moontage Guardian, yeah. Now when Cedric's Agent trades, it will die to the Night Stalker. Although survives the attack because of ward, then the Lance Gas kills it. With Talker 7-7 with Breakthrough there is 6 damage coming through that 2 on guard. You see an Extortionist, oh not Execution, Extortionist. This will be huge if it can attack the Stampede Sentinel. That would mean 7 ramp, at least temporarily. We draw now 3 here, Clockwork Dragon, Dushnik and Garneg. Garneg is nice here. I still think Dushnik is... yeah, plays Dushnik and then goes Garneg because this is 8. Unfortunately, if Hackme orders this correctly, which he should, then he will play cards first, then attack the Dushnik. And he will then gain the resource points back. It's a Mountain Lion into Berenzaya and now goes for the attack. He has 4 magic yet. Oh, Swift Strike and go. Oh, wow, wow, wow. Ramps 8, although it is capped at 7. That was nice. The Berenzaya will start to heal him back, which means, oh, Grim Champion. I think this is your last chance to play the Grim Champion. You also want to attack the Berenzaya next. But if you attack first, then you're not playing the Grim Champion, you will just go Clockwork Dragon. In Shadow, yes. Try to get rid of that Berenzaya. The problem is now that Hackme's hand is right now not looking too good, but there is a Sorest, a Triumphant Jarl, and another Triumphant Jarl, which means that as soon as Hackney has the health advantage, he'll just drop his hand, draw 4, and have 3 for 4s on the board. Joker's deck is not really good at defending, but draws the Alina, which means he can get rid of the Extortionist. Slows this down a bit.
I only need one
Still
shot.
remember, next turn it is 15-15, and after the turn, Hackney will have the lead. There is a Ben Clan Night Stalker on Hackney's end too. Can defend from... oh... Plays the Night Stalker in a field. Obviously chooses the Mammoth as its target.
As long as you're here, try to be useful.
And plays the Snake because he wants to play Sorest and Jarl in the next turn. Now you have to trade, unfortunately. The Mammoth is removed. And then even with Gatekeeper and Blood Dragon, now Hackney can go face for 3, will have the health advantage, and plays Sorest Jarl into Jarl.
I bring reinforcements.
We see the cost reaction, we see the draw first, see what you've drawn. Sentinel Battle Mace is actually better than the other Jarl would be here, because you can equip it on the Cliff Racer, trade favorably, and then you will try to go for lethal next turn, which also means that Joker has to try to play defensively, remove the Snake, or remove the Cliff Racer with Crescent, as we see that. Unfortunately, you cannot go for lethal here. Even with the other Crescent, you only have 12 damage. If it would have been a Galen Crescent now, that would have been 15 and would have meant lethal, but here we just see the Slay come through. Hackney needs 1 damage for lethal, which he doesn't have at the moment. He could draw into it though with Jarl. Let's see the draws. Do you find a single point of damage? You do not, but there is a Prankster Mage, which is quite good for defensiveness, and there is a Leaf Lurker if you want to get rid of the Blood Dragon without sacrificing your creatures. We see Assassin's Ritual on the Snake, turns into a Viper. Ghostface for 8. And then Chance Storm will get rid of Alternate Petrol. Now, I don't know which state Montage Guardian is, but even if it is on guard, you can play it in Shadow, guard 2, you can play Clockwork Dragon in Shadow, guard 1, and that would still leave you open to the Jarl in field, which means that this game went for Hackney as soon as he goes face for 4, and that's it. There goes the 3 to 6 cost match again for the Dagoth, and now we have only the 2 offs left. It will be like a normal ladder match, because it will be Orcs versus Mid-Gias. But the caveat is that it is a 2-off deck on both ends. Let's see the last match. Can City Talker break the 10-point curse, or will he be left at 10-2, and then we'll see if the last match of today, Endeavor versus Blizzard Hackney, will change that, or everyone just gets 10, and that will be the stage for today. Here we go, the final match of City Talker versus Blizzard Hackney in the first stage of the final Summit Tournament Challenge the Champion. The starting hand is not looking good. You both ditch the Belly Giant and the Champion of the Arena. You keep Worldguard Artisan, I think, if you want to. You could even ship that if you are looking for lower cost cards. It's still good because you can play it on 3. Target the Artisan itself, and then it is a 3 cost 3/4. We can still have Vanquisher and the Ravager. And Hackney has Bruma, the Sneak, quite good, and Apprentice kept the hand. I would have considered ditching the Apprentice, but it is good against the Greystone Ravager. City Talker will drop turn 2. Now it's just a pass on Toker's End, and we see, I would say, the Brume developed by Hackme. Or just passes. Tries to keep the ring. Now, if you go still hit Vanquisher, that means Hackme cannot go Apprentice, or Brume, or Ravenous Hunger, because if he does, and he did, then you can play Better Rage Arc, trade with Brume, go face for 3. Okay. Another play would have been to play the Ravager. Try to get it out of the 1 health window. Now we have the Butcher. Perfect. Draw 4-10-4. Dragonfire Wizard, Brume, Channel Storm, all at disposal. You could also just go and attack the Butcher, play the Dushnik, get rid of the Butcher, and then you have a trade with the 3-3. Instead, it goes for Brume, Dragonfire Wizard with the ring. Dragonfire Wizard will have to be dealt with because of the drain. If you give the Vertical Artisan buff to the Butcher, that means Brume cannot trade with it. But of course, we know that there is a Channel Storm in Hackme's hand, so he will just go face, play the Channel Storm on the Butcher, get rid of the 7-4. Flame Lash is at 1 damage, I believe. Maybe 0. I think it is at 1. Of course at 1 because you passed and then it rammed. We see 2 Giants in City Talker's hand, but this turn fell short. You cannot play the Jarl because you do not have the health advantage. Hackme will now play Moose, draw 2. City Talker has a trade. Oh, Spinner is much better. You can start pressuring face. You need the Jarl online. The problem is that the next 2 turns are Vigilant Giant into Vigilant Giant. So you won't be playing the Jarl for a while yet. Fingers will completely clear the lane. If Hackme goes face, he could disable the Jarl. Doesn't even need to. You see Vigilant Giant, interesting that he went field. It is a favorable, yes, but I would have liked it in Shadow just because it's so hard to deal with an 8-8 outside of Javelin. I would have at least gotten 1 turn where he can freely damage Hackme here. Now we see the Reclaimer. Steel Dagger will be equipped to the Moose, and then I see the Flame Lash. Yeah, that's 1 damage. That's 6 damage from the Moose. Clears the Vigilant Giant. Now we see the second Vigilant Giant. Oh, goes for Jarl. Alright, then Jarl and hope that you get something for 3 or less. And you got the Ravager. There is also the Dushnik there, so the Ravager won't survive, as we know. Cloud Rest allows you to trade favorably. It also means the Ravager survives for now, but you can play the Initiate, start the Drain. Also with the Cloud Rest in hand, it will mean that you can trade next turn in Shadow and still keep the Initiate alive. But with the Giant drop there, that's no longer an option. Although you got a bot. Let's see. Cloud Rest still doesn't help you there in the Shadow because both of them are at 4, so you just double trade. Maybe play the Dushnik, get rid of Ravager, or just play the Dagon Seducer. I think that is the better play here. Start your Drain. Also, the Fervor meant that your Reclaimer survived. It was interesting that Stoker still tried to claim field with that 3-4, 3-2. Dushnik will get rid of the Fervor, reduce the amount of drain that Hackme has at his disposal. We see the Dushnik. Probably this is the reason he kept it so long, because he knows that there is this random Word Eater theory in City Talker's deck that is meant to, I think, is meant to synergize with Sky Shard. The Illusionist will mean that you can trade favorably and you have the field lane. Now Joker has to Belly Giant and Silver, but goes for the Jarl. It's not as defensive, but still it's quite good. Silver there feels just bad because it will be traded with the 5-1,
Let's put
but you have to do it. Otherwise you're never claiming that lane back. You also see a Rage in Hackme's hand. Has to look out for that now. Goes face for 3 and heals, goes face for 4 and 3. Is setting up lethal in the following turns. You see another Seducer in the field. He has now 6 drain. Too hard to deal with. Orcs aren't really good at being defensive. The Belly Giant and the Silver is the only defensive 2 that City Joker has here. And I believe there was also the Dushnik, but that's it. Belly Giant will slow down the advance in the Shadow lane. With Silver played, he now has to double trade and then just go face for 7. Also dropping Rift Lane in the Shadow lane would mean that you can Rage next turn. If you wouldn't have... Oh, but he has lethal, of course. He has lethal with Lightning Bolt. And that's game 5 for Hackme, which means that after all this setup, we are still finishing on 10 points with City Joker. Now I will see you in just 5 minutes with the last match for today. It will be Endezo versus Please Don't Hack Me. Don't go anywhere. And welcome back to the first stage of the final summit tournament. I'm still
You're still CoreData?
Your name was first on the slide. I'm still NightDarkWolf, joined by CoreData, and we are just about to head into the matches between Endiza and Please Don't Hack Me. So now Core will walk us through the deck list from Endo.
So first up for Endo, we have on the free picks a aggro Redoran list. Aggro Redoran is a really, really interesting archetype. Kind of fell off towards the end of Houses of Morrowind. There was just better decks. Halalu was kind of the king of that metagame, and Redoran just kind of lingered in the background for quite a long time. But it got a lot of tools over the years, so very excited to see Endo bringing it. Some interesting card choices in here, particularly the one copy of Almalexia's Disciple. Now, this was becoming a little bit more common towards the end of the game's lifespan. A lot of players realizing that a 2-cost 2/3, which is already decent stats on curve, was actually pretty good for tempo when you actually exalt it and just heal a bunch of creatures. It means you can take a bunch of trades, then play Disciple, heal it up, and then your opponent is kind of left answering the board that they should have already answered. So really, really interesting inclusion in this deck list. A lot of interesting one-ofs, one Earthbone, one Housecarl, a single copy of Pitline, a single copy of Gatekeeper. Just very interesting deck building, very interesting to see which cards Endo kind of identified as ones that he doesn't really need to max out on. Also, another interesting thing is one copy of Rapid Shot. I don't think I could ever not run 3 personally, but I'm sure Endo is the type of person who would have run the numbers on this. But onto his second of his free choice deck lists here is a Empire aggro list. Not too much to say about this. Pretty standard stuff. Empire aggro, like I said, very, very standard towards the end of the game's lifespan. One of the most powerful decks you could bring to a tournament. Super, super consistent, super, super quick. You're looking at ending games by turn 5 and turn 6 of this deck. Endo's list curves a bit higher than I would normally go personally, but this seems to be what a lot of people actually settled on for a lot of the builds. People were curving up as far as 7. For Wilds Incarnate, we see Endo here curving up for Raz and Clivia, as well as playing one copy of Edict of Azura, as well as the one copy of Shining Saint, which is very, very interesting as like a pseudo Cloud Resolutions effect. Next up, we have the dual color no supports, and Endo has brought the mono blue aggro assassin. This is one of Endo's signature decks. He plays this deck a whole bunch, has played it in tournaments quite a few times. The idea of the deck is to be a super low to the ground blue deck using Baron of Tyr to basically make your creatures really, really awkward to deal with. You have so much ward density on the lower end that giving them all guard makes you really, really difficult to kind of get through. So in aggro mirrors, this deck is incredibly punishing, but it kind of curves a little bit higher than a standard aggro deck. So we see like 3 copies of Fingers in the Mountain in here, 3 Alfiques and the Ancano, as well as like Prankster Mage as well in the 5-drop slot. So very, very interesting build. Slightly heavier than the more standard aggro version of this deck, but all in all, really, really neat deck building here. Then next up, we have the No Prophecies, No Ice Storm, and Endo has brought a very, very interesting warrior list. So this is aggro warrior, but with an orc package. Orcs not really seen as being all that good towards the end of Tesla's lifespan. They were really, really good around like 2018 that way, but they never really got all that many good support tools after that. They did get Marauder Chieftain towards the end of Tesla, which is a fantastic card, very, very interesting card. It has a lot of very strange synergies, especially with cards like Clan Captain. Basically, it's a ratchet up its damage output massively. Again, we're seeing the one copy of Almalexia's Disciple in here as well, just as a tempo tool. So yeah, super, super interesting list. Very, very excited to see Orcs. It's a deck that we don't really get to see all too often. And then next up, we have the 3 to 6 costs, and Endo has brought possibly one of the best decks you could bring for this stipulation, which is a Mid-Bunal. Super, super powerful. So much really, really good single target removal. And in a format or in a restriction like this, where you're playing 3 to 6 costs, you're expecting to see quite a few heavy bodies, which means that Tribunal's removal is going to be premium when it comes to this restriction. So very, very good deck choice here when it came to identifying what would be more than likely the standard meta for this kind of restriction. Not too much to say overall. It plays pretty much all the good Tribunal cards. Some quirky stuff on the lower end just because you can't play anything lower than 3. So we're seeing like 3 copies of Outland Patrol, which is normally not seen in any decks like this. We're also seeing like Vivek in here, which is famously, in my opinion, a massive trap card. But for the most part, it's like an 8 mana 10/10 for Endo in this format. And then at the top end, you've got cards like Umaril, which are again interesting in these choices, as well as the 3 copies of Blackworm Necromancer, card we haven't seen for a very long time, but should find some value. And finally, we have the 2 ofs, and Endo has brought one of my absolute favorite decks, which is Rage Guildsworn, a deck that doesn't suffer from playing that many 2 ofs because the quantities in Rage Guildsworn are normally a bit skewed anyway. You're playing a lot of tech cards, you're playing a lot of narrow pieces of removal, things like Dushnik Yall and Earthbone Spinner that you only want to play 2 copies of anyway. The standard versions only play 2 copies of Rage at the top end regardless, so not all that much hit to how you would normally build a Rage Guildsworn deck. But what it does mean is that this deck has more room, because of all the 2-ups, to play some of the stronger mid-game stuff, things like Monastic Champion. Not normally seen in Rage Guildsworn. Rage Guildsworn is a bit more value and late-game oriented, so you don't see these strong mid-range creatures in the mid-game all that much, but moreover, you see the value stuff. So because of this stipulation, we do get to see some of the more niche mid-range creatures in this deck, which is really, really cool. I really do like that. And of course, because it's a 75-card deck, Endo got the choice of adding one extra copy of a card of his choice and naturally picked Alpha as I think everyone else did who brought mid-range blue for this. So yeah, super cool deck. I'm very excited to see this played.
And before we start the matches, what do you think about the bans for the free-for-all match we have on Endo's side, a Redoran and an Empire, on Hackney's side, the Telvanni and the Tribunal?
I think it's pretty cut and dry for Hackney. I think Hackney is just going to ban the Aggro Empire. I think he's banned Aggro Empire every time it's been in the lineup. So I wouldn't be surprised seeing ban it here. It's just a very, very powerful deck, and it's very, very difficult to deal with if it gets a good opener. For Endo, the bans are a little bit trickier. If you're Endo, you're probably familiar that Hackney loves the Uprising Telvanni. So some part of me wants him to like ban it out of spite. But then you also have like this really weird Chanter Tribunal that is looking to be really grindy with a lot of value stuff in the inside it, that it's a bit difficult to kind of evaluate how that's going to play against your decks. So it's kind of tricky to really identify what the correct ban is, because you have a deck that you know Hackney is comfortable on that you could ban out from under him, or you have this really weird Tribunal list that is difficult to analyze on a surface of without having played against it. He could ban the Tribunal just for the fact of not knowing how it plays. Basically, just remove variables. At least with the Telvanni, you kind of know what it's going to be doing. You know what its end goal is. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Tribunal banned. But if I was Endo, I'd probably ban Telvanni here.
And here we go. The first match will be just caused by me because of technical difficulties, and then we'll have Core back. This is Endoza versus Pleasant Hackney. We have the free-for-all matchup. It is Redoran versus Telvanni. So we see quite a good starting hand on Endo's side. It is cards by a Scout, the Trainer, and the Troll, so you have a 1, 2, and 3 with the ring, but you could also decide to do the 5th Legion on turn 1 and then try to play the Scout. Unfortunately for him, there is also an FGR, Fighter's Guild Recruit, in Pleasant Hackney's hand, which will be a perfect answer. Oh, and he drew another one. This is a perfect answer to the Trainer that we just saw. There we go. You have double cards for a Scout. Unfortunately, you cannot attack, so you just pass. You could hope on ladder that your opponent makes a mistake, but Hackney won't. So it's just the 1-3 removed. Yes. And then you could also play the 3-minder because it has 1 health and 1 attack. We'll just trade with cards by Scout. One thing you could have done is play the Mercenary Captain. That way one of your Carpe Scouts survive, but you decide to go with Blickers Troll. The problem now will be that FGR right there, the second one. You don't even need them to come from Prophecies, it's still so good. I am not even sure if Endo has any answer to that from hand. In the whole deck. Let's say, oh no, the Merchant could have given something. Here you probably take the Horseman because you have the Scimitar in hand, so the Horseman will be a 7 4 with Breakthrough next turn, but it costs 4, so it's not that good. Unfortunately, yeah, you have to trade. Hackney could go with the Channel Storm and the Peddler buff instead, because here, that way you could have denied the buff on Horseman. What did you grab? I think you grabbed Sorcerer's Negation, because then you can deal with Horseman. But the next turn you just go face Channel Storm. The 2 FGRs were just so good for Hackney here. It is turn 5 now, and Endo has dealt 0 damage in the last 4 turn to face. Never a good sign when you're playing a token brethren. Oh, mute. Interesting. Kind of the same effect as a negation would have been.
Nothing like a good
And we
battle.
see the captain now. And then just go face. Don't trade, go face. Delayed. Oh, trades. Doesn't want to break room, although it doesn't matter at this point because Hackmey's hand advantage is just so good. Yeah, and we see the Ice Storm. This is probably the best Ice Storm you could have gotten in this match, because afterwards Endo will just not have any cards in hand and on board. Hackney will be able to remove all the threats one by one every turn, so you don't even play the Channel Storm, I don't think. Okay. Decides to do it in... fine. I guess. Crusader's Assault is good. You got Trainer, Captain. Probably I will assume. That's fine too. I guess you won't get more than 1 buff anyway from Hackmey here. And then you can Captain next turn for 3 damage. We see an Amulet, which means Hackmey will start to heal now. There is the Channel Storm on the Mammoth. And then Mute will remove the buff and the buff giver 2. Adler will also draw 1 because you played the Mute and the Channel Storm. Now you have a favorable, and then you just go face. Empties the hand, let's see what happens here. Unfortunately there is a Black Hand Messenger, yes, in Hackmey's hand, which will deal with both the Captain and through Abduntar with the Riftain. Mentor's Ring also is a problem. Because of that, Endo will have to trade with Abner. He sees the decklist, knows that there is a Mentor's Ring there. RP. I don't even think it matters at this point. Interesting. Doesn't play the double Shadowfen. I think there was... Oh, House Carl. That will help a bit because you can draw. If you would have played the double Shadowfen, then you could have Mentor's Ring, the Blackened Messenger next turn. And then Drain 8, and that would have shut down the Redoran for good. Here you just use the Summon Effect 2. Necro doesn't even need it. Yes, there we go. Gives Drain to the board. Cloudrist can help with trading in Shadow. And then with the Mercenary Captain, you can trade with 2 creatures in field.
A little distraction might prove useful.
You have to do that. Mer Captain.
Nothing like a good battle.
But the Necro will just bring back the Messenger, I think. Trade in Shadow, double trade in field. It survives at 3-2. Just Mage.
Feel the power within.
Now you just protect that. Set up a double trade. Viper. Alright. That means your guard is protected. Terror a bit late, but still good because it allowed you to trade favorably. Unfortunately, in Shadow you cannot do that, so you will just pass. Oh, that's fine too.
You must be cleansed.
Shadowfen removes the Fervor. And then you play Necro
Rise, my servant.
either for draw or for the Blackened Messenger. If you Blackened Messenger, you can remove. Yeah, draw is better at this point. You had the Sanctmat 45 one. And with TGR you can trade next turn.
No matter what.
And it tries to do something in Shadow, but it is too late for that. There is an Elite Guardian in Hackme's hand. After the TGR trades, you will have space on the board to play both. There we go. And even with Fervor, you can just remove. Oh, yeah, it did. I would have considered removing the 8/8 because now Hackme has lethal if I'm correct. That's 8 plus 8, 16, 20. No, it was just 25. Fire Bloom. That doesn't do much. Have 27, which is 1 off.
Mother of mine.
Behold my power.
Cloud Rest. Not as if it will matter at this point.
A little distraction might prove useful.
Spares you from 2 damage, and now Hackme has a target for the Fire Bloom. You know, you could merchant into Black Ear, Red Ear. Come on, no. Alright,
My lips.
that's game then.
Mouthpaw.
I think merchant into Black Ear, again, Red Ear would have pretty much given this to Endo. That would have been funny. And that is game 1 for Pleasant Hackme. He still has all his 25 points left. And now we go for the second match, back with CoreData. And next match is the dual color no sports match. We have Assassin versus Mage.
Yep, so this is going to be Aggro Assassin versus the Combo Mage from Hackme. As we see Endo pitch Lightning Bolt, keeping Baron's Eye plus Thief. Hero Spider on the opening hand for Hackme as well as a Schemer. I wonder if you're Hackme, do you actually keep the Thrana? You don't, okay? You pitch the Thrana. Finds Peddler, Piercing Javelin, Folk Bolt.
Not a great starting hand on Endo's side.
Could be worse, you're just going to ring Discerning Thief here this turn.
My paws are quicker than your eyes.
Hero Spider comes in to deny the Pilfer. But this is a pretty good just trade and develop the second Thief.
My paws are quicker than your eyes.
At least,
And next,
yeah, you're playing a little Schemer forces and to trade with the Schemer.
yeah, goes face first. Probably going to pitch one of these Conjurers. Oh, pitches Fingers, interesting. Okay. Takes a trade, then just going to exalt Temple Conjurer. Yep. Ring exalt.
You might have missed turn 1, but then you had the best drops that you could. Discerning Thief is the best for 2 with the ring, is the best for 3 without the ring, and then Temple Conjurer into Alphig is just chef's kiss.
Yeah, Discerning Thief is just such an insane card. I think it is quietly like one of the best mid-range cards in the game. Everyone pointed to Alfiq being like, this is why blue mid-range is so good, but I think quietly Discerning Thief did a lot of heavy lifting. As Hackme has to think here. If Hackme, see, it's difficult for Hackme in this situation because if you kill the Atronach, you're just enabling an Alfiq next turn. So we're just gonna see a Schemer, Forked Bolt, kill off the 3/1.
You'll not be rid of me that easily.
Finds the Fingers.
So double Discerning Thief, double Temple Conjurer, double Alphig.
Yeah. I didn't realize we were casting the two ofs game. think you just ditch this this Flameslinger or the Channel Storm. Yeah, Flameslinger goes bye-bye. Get in for another 2, and then just exalt the second Conjurer here. Just trying to force an answer out of Hackme.
Gotcha.
Trades with the first Astronaut. Probably just going to see Channel, or Fingers, rather. You could... It's difficult, right? Because you could Gourmet, you also have like Cruel Fire Bloom. You could maybe try and roll for... Yeah, but it just makes sense to go for the Atronach and the Thief here.
Unfortunate. We see the off-peak. Even
Yep.
Javelin clearing the Stormator is not enough. Because Endo has the next off-peak the next turn.
7. Yeah, with Swift Strike... With Swift Strike he had, what, like 10? Kirok is going to come down. Soak up 2 hits here. Yeah, it's going to be trade, face for 2, play the second off-peak. Second Storm Atro comes out.
No Javelins, no Ice Storms in the deck at all. So, that's it.
Yeah, there's not much Hackme can really do here.
There wasn't time to develop the Brew Mouse to start healing.
Yeah, Gourmet is going to... Yeah, I think we're going to see some combination of Bruma, Gourmet, and Fire Bloom here. Just to try and take some damage off the board. Okay, does actually hit a live target. As we see Ghostgate Defender, and then there's a special off the top here. Let's again clear up one of the profiteers, but this is just lethal with Swift Strike plus Storm
Gets
Atro.
rid of the Brew Mouse in case a Prophecy will pop.
Yep.
And that's game.
So next up, this is the No Prophecies, No Ice Storm, and this is going to be Endo on Aggro Warrior versus Hackme on the Rage Ebonheart. Opening hand for Endo again on the slow side, finds a Raider for turn 1, but nothing to do in between then and turn 4. Hackme's hand is looking okay. Brotherhood Sanctuary, Crossbow, Skaven, Clockwork Scorpion, and then a Viper off the top. And it does find Rothgar Artisan that he can ring out here this turn.
Try this on for size.
Does at least switch off the Pyromancer from taking a free kill.
For this
That's
match,
still
Endo removed a better Stalker to add one more Relentless Raider, and then Hackme made a bunch of changes that doesn't really matter.
Takes the trade. Doesn't trade. Very interesting. Oh, Brawler. That's right. I always forget the Candlehearth Brawler is a guard. But we do see Danger Noodle and then trade.
But then you have Solar. You can still protect the Relentless Raider. It was worth putting that extra copy in.
You should.
Rapid Shot for 0 value just to get rid of this Raider. Probably develop Martin Septum here or the Arch-Invenitong.
Yeah, the thing is, this will bring Hackme down to 9 with the last gas to... Oh, not leave.
Oh, Ogrim is a big pickup.
I think Nagleave is better because you don't want to give this guard to Hackme.
Fair. But he's just going to go for the Ogrim because you can deploy the Ogrim this turn. And the Ogrim needs to be answered because it is representing lethal.
With the Scimitar, yes. But also when the Solar dies, Hackme will be at 4.
At 4, yeah.
double ramp, and double ramp again.
Bear in mind, Endo is holding this Karspire Scout, so a top deck Headhunter is lethal.
And we
Does not
see a
find it.
drain. That's the combat line right there.
Scimitar gets it for 3. Holy Spirit and Karspire Spell come down in field lane. Probably going to see a... It's awkward. Rapid shot on the... Yeah, you rapid shot the Spirit, you take the trade, see where the buff lands, and you just Elena where the buff is.
And then you Elena.
Yeah, so take the trade where the buff lands is more than likely, and is the best target.
Oh yeah.
Elena clears up the largest threat here, gets in for 3, heals back up to 4. Dark Guardian.
Protects the 1/1. If you can stall long enough, you could try for an Avatar of Akatosh just for points.
Oh!
Unfortunate that there is a 3-2 with Drain on the board. So there was not enough.
Yeah.
The hist revive.
But you're stuck with this you're under unstoppable rage right now is the issue. Yeah, I think Endo has lost this one.
And if I am Hackmate, even if Endo has no creatures, I just fill my lane and I use the rage.
Yeah,
on my
you
drain.
rage just to heal.
In a scenario like this, it's worth it for the 9 heal.
I'm just gonna see double Marauder Chieftain come down here.
And then rage.
Yeah, this is a very, very easy rage. You could Shadow Shift the Nahag Leave out to maintain the health if you wanted. But you're probably better off just playing Martin Septum here.
I'd even consider raging on the Nagri.
No, I agree with the healing.
This is the better choice, of course.
Leaf Rocker comes down. Siege Catapult off the top for Endo.
That's not going to ever be online now. At least you can trade it Nagleave.
Yeah, but from this point, the game's kind of done. You can Shadow Shift, move your Drain into the opposite lane if you wanted.
And the single Will of the Wisp got you from 4 to 22.
Yeah. See the Soar come down, Iliac Sorcerer come down, takes trade, or hits in with the catapult. Another Distiller off the top.
Do you have lethal yet? 60. 20. You have lethal.
You do. You have well over lethal here. Well, just over lethal. But I don't believe there's any prophecies in Endo's deck. That's not. Oh yeah, there's no prophecies at all. What am I saying?
No man can deny destiny.
Yeah, see Martin come down.
And orcs wouldn't even have defensive prophecies.
No.
Hit them
Two
hard.
for 1. Clockwork Scorpion. Pass. Winky Spell Sword for Endo, and that's it. Scoops it up. It's 2-1 to hack me.
And for the 3 to 6 cast back, we have the Tribunal into Dagoth.
Endo pitching a Golden Initiative here, finding a Tel'Vos Magister. Opening hand for Hack Me is looking very good actually. Sanctuary Pet, Sentinel Reclaimer plus Vision Ancestor, as well as an Alfiq. Price Mage off the top, Aaron off the top for Endo, followed by a Bleako Stroll. Gonna see probably Ring Discerning Thief here. Yeah.
Oh, passes.
Oh, interesting.
We of the Reach.
Doomfang for Hack Me, hitting
Lord.
blue. Oh,
Oh,
Prankster Mage on top then, right? It's Prankster Mage, or I don't know if he's running Black Hand Messenger in the deck.
By the fires of oblivion.
Sadras or Queen Baron's Eye. Oh, Assassin's Ritual, of course. Yeah, he has a number of assassin colored cards. Yeah, this Doomfang is it's problematic. As we see Bleak Coast Troll dropped in Shadow here.
Endo has to flee to Shadow now.
Yeah, this Doomfang is going to be exerting so much pressure in field lane.
And fleeing to
Prankster
Shadow
Mage.
against Dagoth is just not wise because there is hand.
Yeah, there's a lot of very difficult to deal ordered threats. So we see the tome come down, knocks off the ward. It's going to just offer the 1-for-1 trade here. But Hackme can just reward it with Assassin's Ritual here.
Goodbye.
Close face. Probably just going to see Ritual come down as well as
Something useful.
the Sentinel Reclaimer. Nope, it's instead going to go for Sanctuary Pet. Shacklet for the turn.
It goes for the more aggressive play.
Mm-hmm.
Can you win next turn? 3, 8, 10, 12. 4 with Lightning Bolt.
Perhaps we can help one another.
Just see that Endo goes for
Yeah.
Telvos here.
With a Telvos, Hackney would have had lethal.
Goodbye.
Yeah, because I think the other line there is potentially just Abner and shackle down the Prankster Mage.
Speak, citizen.
But Golden Initiative comes down. This might potentially stem the bleeding a little bit here. Yeah, we're just going to see the ritual on the Prankster Mage, just to give it back the guard. Gambler just pitching this dagger. Ooh, Shadowfen off the top is pretty good. You can bump the... See, you're kind of forced into Shadowfenning this 5/3. Silence the 5/3, take the trade with your initiate, bump the Sanctuary Pet with Telvos. You have 3 mana left over with the ring. Yeah, it's just
And you still
There's not
haven't used the ring.
yeah. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about Endo skipping turn 2. I would have liked to seen maybe a Daggerfall developed on 2.
Eh.
As we hit a purple card on top. That's not really going to do anything. Yeah, we're just going to see the Shadowfen come down.
And then the
Something
double
like that.
trade.
Yeah, take 2 trades, like I said. You're still in such a terrible position here.
Yeah.
Jarl off the top.
For my kingdom.
3 and for 4.
Do better.
And that's lethal
Yeah.
with the bot.
Just bolt. Yeah. Yeah, 3-1 to hack me.
Until now, all the players got 10 points in the end. So if we follow the track, then Endo should win the next one. And it's a Guildsworn mirror in the TF spot.
Yeah, so Guildsworn Mirror. Endo again on the ring. Endo's been very lucky with the ring luck here. Opening hand is looking not great. See 2 cards pitched back. Finding a Daggerfall Mage and a Vigilant Giant. Opening hand for Hackme is looking pretty good. Crown Quartermaster off the top. Wrap shot just to take off the 2-1. Very aggressive play from Endozoa just to remove that. We're going to see Ring Daggerfall here, potentially. Or Ring Discerning Thief. Those
Ring
Restrained Thief.
Daggerfall beat Execute in Hackme's hand would have been
Yeah, would
brutal.
it would have been punished super hard. Knocks Interesting. Knocks the ward off, places his own Daggerfall Mage. Now this is going to get punished.
And
Yep.
Crusaders Assault.
Yeah, draw some cards.
It's turn 4, and Hackme already won the Rissa's game.
Well, I mean, you've got double Bruma here.
There's a plan.
Yeah, so you just developed double Bruma. Hackme is probably going to go for Master Champion here. It's going to get answered by Fel the Mighty.
True peace, ferocity.
The issue is that you're so far behind on resources as Endo in this position.
Just look at hand sizes.
Yeah, Hackme has plenty of fuel.
By the
Fingers off the top as well, but we're going to see
Doesn't
Daggerfall plus
even need
Harpy.
it.
And the dagger on the Daggerfall. The dagger has fallen on the Daggerfall. Yeah, I think it's just Reclaimer and Flameslinger. You're just playing all the cards you can every turn
Well,
you can.
let's see if we can find something useful. Everything is taken care of.
Slinger, and then probably Dagger on the Slinger. Opts to hold for a turn.
I would have liked the dagger too. Because
Yeah.
you're dropping Giant next turn anyway.
And Hackme has this Cradle Crush as well in hand.
Now Fingers is a full clear.
Yep.
And if you're on ladder, then you kind of concede at this point.
I mean, if you're Endo, I think you're willing to still play it out for a couple turns. You have a few draws to get you back into this game. Vigilant
But there's a
Giant is very,
Fel.
very helpful here. Yeah, but the Fel obviously takes it out. Yeah, at this point, now is when I'd be kind of thinking maybe concede, but Monastic Champion is a solid top deck.
Only if you're tilted.
You see Lightning Bolt off the top for Hackme.
This is your last chance to play the Muse. But then you're not using all your Magicka. Good Cradle. Cloud Rest Trade. That's 10, that doesn't work. Sentinel Reclaimer in Shadow. That's up for a trade next turn if you want to. I do think Muse is just better.
Yeah, no, because you also consider maybe going face, breaking the rune, playing Smash Crusader, cycling a card that way.
You're not dropping the Muse on the DFM side because you know there is a Steel Sword.
True peace, ferocity.
Goes for Master Champion here. Chooses to knock the ward off of the Daggerfall. And I would say bolts it just for a move.
Well,
They're gonna
let's see
go
if we
for a
can
Sentinel
find something
Reclaimer. Interesting, okay. Riftthane for Endo. Yeah, Tome's Seducer just keeps it out of range of this. Smash Champion requires an extra card of investment if he wants to take a trade.
Yeah, the term is already in Hackme's hand. It's just trading terms.
We must protect our stronghold.
See, another Fingers off the top for Hackme here. Plus Riftthane. Yeah, Hackme is just swimming in resources right now.
A little
But he's very slowly getting whittled down.
one strike will be all that is needed.
It's slow, but the health total is steadily dropping. See, Mighty Conjuring off the top. You can steal Sword plus Conjuring here.
And it's probably your last chance of using the Conjuring.
Yeah, in for 6. No prophecy hit. Conjuring goes in field. Perfect. Channel Storm.
And Fingers.
Yeah, so
Is it
Fingers.
here?
Deal.
Yes.
Yeah, it is. Takes trade with the Cloud Rest, and then Channel Storm clears it. Oh, okay. Could also invest a tome here.
Your feet betrays you.
And
That's
just
equally as
passes.
good. Yeah, saves you from hitting face, which would have been punished by the initiate that was sitting on top.
Speak, citizen.
As Hackme, or Endo, rather, continues to just deploy everything he can. Rift Lane for Hackme on guard mode.
And
Just Javelin to clear up Champion, and then Phalanx Exemplar. And a Rage off the top.
you kind of have to use it, yeah.
Yeah.
Favorable. But then Hackme has the Cradle. Yes. And because you healed, Hackme can go face without breaking runes, summon the 3-3,
That is needed.
Khajiit will keep you safe.
and go
Yep,
for
and
lethal
yeah.
next turn.
Blizzard Giant for Endo's gonna flip back this 9-4. Think that does save Endo for the turn. Got 16 plus 9. Yeah, 25 damage for Hackme. Harpy will reduce that number still.
There is only one damage in Hackme's hand, it is the Steel Dagger. Still left from Reclaimer. He could cycle if he wants to, there is the East March. But he just develops.
We'll hold, no matter what.
Elastic Champion plus East March. Second Rage for Endo.
Played it in the wrong order. If you rage on the Dushnik,
Yeah,
you clear the lane.
clears. Yeah.
Not as if it would have mattered much.
Second Alpheek's gonna come down. Still not active, I don't believe, the Alpheek's.
One strike will be all that is needed.
East March plus Ornamental Sword.
And you can
Yep,
skip the
Dagger
rune,
is
no
lethal.
proxies.
Yep. And Hackme takes it. That's 4-1 to Hackme. That's the first 4-1 we've seen.
Would have you thought that the first player to drop below 10 points will be Endo? Because I would not have.
Yeah, that was not on my bingo card.
And with that, we have cast all 4 matches today. We'll be back with the second half of the Challenge the Champion stage next month. It will be on August 2nd. We will see who's left. Eros is left, Core is left, and Rospirol is left, and also me. So that will be the next stream in just a month. A few reminders. We have also the Heroes of 40 tournament stream next week, so on the 12th. And then just to look at the elimination table right now, although we are a bit far away from the first elimination. Today we had Nocturnal Megacat, City Talker, and Endo play. 3 of them are on 10 points, Endo is on 5. So anything can happen yet. Next month we will have the other 4 in, and then we'll see the first real standings that we will see during the final summer tournament. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next month. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.